Sometimes the beauty of the world is so winning. Afternoon, low tide. Beautiful, beautiful sea. Wishing all of you to really enjoy the Tea and Trail podcast. The best, the only one which keeps me running and dreaming of more adventures, inspired by Edwina, Gary, all the guests, the coaches, and all of you. Ciao!
I thought about that little, for you to sing a little lullaby every week. I even Googled it, and YouTube, we get a copyright strike.
Oh, copyright strike. I'd love a copyright strike.
Hello and welcome to episode 105 of the Tea and Trails podcast. Beautiful words and views from friend of the show, Carmine. Oh my goodness me, I love the sea. Love
the sea.
I do wrestle this though, sea or the mountains.
It's a classic long journey game for Bryn and I, sea or mountains. And then we put your hands together. Just get yourself to a Scottish island and you got them both.
Thanks for sharing, Carmine, and thanks for all the intros too. Keep them coming. We've got loads and we will make our way through them. Email them to hello@teaandtrails.com.
A big thank you to all our patrons for the price of a decent cuppa. I'd pay an extra 50p for my tea bag to be dunked a little harder. You are the ones that keep this sensational. You get that sort of content. You keep it flowing. Many thanks to our partners too. Check them out over on Patreon. They support the podcast and provide a discount code for lots of running goodies. Join any Patreon tier, pay annually, and you'll receive 10% off your subscription. We'll pop a snoodle in your post, and very soon you're going to get first dibs, first call to arms for the Tea and Trails Ultra. Oh, it's this week, isn't it? Ho, ho, ho. There could be people slipping in DMs. Can you get me a place? Can you get me a place? No, I can't.
Talk about DMs though. If you do need any information on the Tea and Trails Ultra, my knowledge is very limited of the deets, what vehicles are allowed, if you can take your family, if you can take your dogs. There is a contact form on teaandtrailsultra.com.
Yes.
So any specific questions, reach out via
Libby's there. It's her life. This is her dream's work. She's waiting for your emails. Also, pop over to Summit Crazy if you'd like to buy some Tea and Trails merch. Don't forget, if you are waiting for your snood or you'd like a bobble hat, as magnificently shown in day 6 of the Spine catch up, Colin wearing his hat. Did you read that? And he dropped it. And he went 300 meters. Oh, no. Would you go 300 meters back for your bobble hat in the middle of the Spine? If you don't?
You're dead to me, bobble hat.
Anyway, don't forget to make sure your address is in Patreon. No address, no goodies.
Thanks to X Miles, Precision Fuel and Hydration, Harrier Trail Running, Phoenix Light UK and Protein Rebel for sponsoring this week's show. We use their products week after week to help us train, hydrate and recover. And if you need a headphone upgrade, I had to go back I had to downgrade my headphones from Brew with the Coaches.
Please, everybody, all the Brew with the Coaches for the next couple of months, just check out Gary spinning the discs.
They weren't, you see these podcasts and they've got these super trendy headphones.
No, they weren't. I don't know what, no. I don't know where, I don't know how, but they were incredible. I think you should wear them at the Tea and Trails Ultra when we record.
That's not the image. That's not the image I want to project. But if you need a headphone upgrade, then use the code T10 for £10 off over at uk.shocks.com.
Big shout out to X Miles for supporting us for 2025. Pop over there to X Miles for all your nutrition and kit needs. There's lots of brands to choose from. Gary goes on and on about their nutrition planner. He dips in and out of that every day trying to find new peanut butter. He can it. So if you hit the wall, here we go. I can't get a word in edgeways this morning, everybody. Here we go. What have you got it all? I've got it all. I've got every single thing from X-Files.
I've got it all planned out. I've got my London Marathon planner. I've got my 13 Valleys planner. I've got my Lakeland 100 planner. It is all
You're a dirty boy, Gary. Just choose one for goodness sake.
Greedy.
So if you're really greedy. So if you are struggling with just race, session, workout, general nutrition, go and have a check out over on there. Patrons receive 10% off over at www www.xmiles.co.uk.
Links to all our sponsors, Patreon and the Tea and Trails Ultra can be found in the show notes or over at www.teaandtrails.com.
That was better this week. That was better. We shared it.
Slick.
Slick.
Well, I went through it and made sure there was some Garys on those
I
paragraphs.
noticed that. I was like, you've highlighted Gary. Gary to speak. Eddie, stop speaking. Take a breath.
How are you doing?
Oh, now I know. I try, you want to bring the energy, AC/DC. Thunder. I should have listened to that before the podcast. Oh, but I'm like, also, let's be truthful. Jeez, am I feeling January in my bones at the moment? Oh, my Lord. Last week, I thought, yeah, I'm going to crush this week. I'm back at it. I seem to live in my running kit. I seem to run all the time. And yeah, I didn't seem to achieve very much. I think my problem is that I have slots in the day where I can find like 40, 45 minutes. But what I'd really like to do is find 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I would just run done, strength done. But I very rarely have like a 2-hour slot.
You just got to think, Sally McRae. This was a hustle for years.
I know,
grab it when she
hustling. How much hustling is left? So the week started off really well. Good session. I got my strength done. I love having my squat rack in my garage because the only hard bit about the squat rack in the garage is you're not going to a nice gym where it's warm and you've got showers and saunas and stuff. You've got to go into. So there is a radiator out there. So I tried to I know. I tried to turn it on and then I was soon found out for heating a room, heating a garage.
Bring up a notification on his phone.
And he was like, Ozzy, it's so cold out there. I have to wear gloves to pick the dumbbells up. Not because they hurt my hands, because they're so cold. I was like, I don't know. I'll turn this to see if this radiator works. And then then I was like, it's heating all day for me to go in there for 30, 40 minutes. That is a bit of a... Anyway, I did it. Yeah, so the week started off really well. Then it just got busier and busier. And by the weekend, I thought, what? There is no room for me. I feel like slowly as the kids squish me until I'm like, would it be okay if I just took a shower? So I was like, there's no way I'm going to find 3 hours this week to get my long run in. What can I do? And so I thought I can find an hour and 40-ish minutes. So I just go out and I'll just beat myself and just run a bit faster. And so I did that and I quite enjoyed that. But I got to the end of the week and I was a bit like, I feel a bit disappointed in myself because, my family comes first and then my work and then my running. And that's the way at the moment in life that's the way it works. But my running was like, it was just tiring me out. Rather, I was like, what's the point of this? I just feel like I'm training when I'm already tired and I'm busy and a bit stressed and I go out running and then I'm like, oh, should I do myself? Oh, I'm really tired. I just didn't get it right, Gary. And sometimes that's the way the week went and that's the way the week happened. By the end of the week, I was like, I've got a race entered in April. And it is the Crawley 24-hour track race. And I entered it quite a long time ago, talked into it by a number of friends. I'm quite up for it in the difference of training and completely different to my last 3 sufferfests. Be company, people always around. I don't have a backpack. It's flat. I can just trot around. The mental aspect of it doesn't really frighten me, but then it should do because I know that that's one hardest thing. I'm just not sure I want to do it, Gary.
24 hours, Eddie, you've got to want to do it.
You've got to want to do it. I thought you meant you've got to want to do it. You'd love it.
No.
I'm just not sure.
Have you done before a track race like this?
I've done 100k on a loop. But I've not done a 24-hour track race.
I think it's the most purest form of 24-hour racing because there's no obstacles. In theory, hopefully it's not a minging day. But like you say, you've got your nutrition on the side of the track. You've got a crew, hopefully. There's a bit of social aspect to it. There's no mountains to climb up.
I like the mountains, so that's a bit tricky because I'm like, I'm just feeling, to be honest, Gary, I'm just feeling it past it. And I'm like, I'm not sure I can get my... I know. There's a lot of young whippersnappers, fresh-legged. And I'm like... The work I need to put in to get myself into a shape that would be appropriate on that. But then I'm like, does that matter? Do I need to be in that good? Like, can I go and
Depends what your goal is, I suppose.
Yeah, what's my goal? And I'm not sure what, I'm not sure what that is. So I'm a bit lost, really, to be honest. I'm a bit like, I'm still tired. I think I'm still tired from the 200. It was only a month ago. I've jumped back into training. I feel all right physically. I'm just not sure. I'm not really sure what I want to do. I'm not even sure I'm motivated to do another race. I was thinking this. I was thinking if I didn't have the podcast and I wasn't chatting to you, would I just retire? Would I just be like, I'm kind of done. I'm kind of done with like, I think I'm only going to go downhill now. So I'm like, what? I know. But it's the truth.
You just reassess your goals, don't you? I like chase.
Yeah, but I'm not that. I'm not that. If I'm only going to get worse, sure. What? I don't know. Yeah, this is my problem. I'm like, what is motivating me? I'm not really sure what's motivating me. I'm not really sure what I want to do. I really do like that really long stuff. I know if you listen to episode whatever 102, 101 of my post-race story, you might go, what? I do really like that stuff. But with that stuff comes like this mega price to pay. Loss of all fitness, loss of all form, loss of all bodily functions. And I'm a bit like...
You don't have to race, do you? You can just be fit to have fun in the mountains. I don't think some people need an event to motivate them. I don't think that's you.
No, I just love, you know me, Gareth, just love running. And so, I don't know. But I also know that you just have to sit with it a bit, don't you? And let time tick away. And I think being on my own a lot at the moment probably doesn't help as well, because you lack a bit of, I think actually what I'm going to do this weekend, we'll talk about that at the end of the podcast, will help me pick me up. Just in a bit of a fug, to be honest, Gary.
Oh,
in a bit of a fug. And I'm just like, and I'm not whining about it. It's just what it is, isn't it? Life, you're a bit like, I feel every time I go for a run, I'm a bit like, it feels a bit Groundhog Day, basically. Yeah. Here we go again. And I need to inject something.
See, I'm different. I could sometimes think, I don't have to race again. I think COVID taught me that. I love being out there. I love being in the mountains. I'm really fortunate. I've got like probably 8 mates who we see weekly, and then we're always doing an event. Someone's chatting about an event, and it's kind of, it's like the cookie jar's open, it's contagious. Then before you know it, 7 people have entered. So I think even Robbo mentioning about the Northern Traverse or the full spine? I can't remember what it was, but
Robbo, he'd be the Montaigne's dream at the full spine.
Yeah,
do it anyway. So the week was fine, the running was fine. I just didn't have the there's just not the, what was it, Vavavoom at the moment. But let's see, next week I'll be like, so I signed up for 6 races.
Race across Wales.
Yeah, I think don't rush it, Eddie. Be kind.
Because you might end up just spoiling it. It might turn into something else if you rush it. It'll come when it comes.
Yeah, it'll come when it comes. What about you? I realise that you had a much worse week generally than I did, and here I'm whining about, oh, poor Eddie just really suffered in her.
Well, it was Baltic again in the northeast, so we were a bit kind of convoluted about our timelines last week when we were chatting, but everybody remembers the beginning of last week. Super cool, but it was an away week for me. It's not my story to share, there's lots going on behind the scenes, but apologies, we had, when did the podcast go out? Was it late Sunday night or very early Monday morning?
I told HR to cut you a bit of slack about that. There wasn't any comments. It was just it would just be what it will be.
But as a result, from not being local, I'm a creature of habit. If somebody kind of chucks a grenade into my routine, then everything falls by the wayside. So there was no gym. Sad times, no Brutal Labs.
No Brutal Labs, but Brutal Labs can travel. That's the beauty of Brutal Labs.
Well, I didn't want to get down on the Travelodge floor too much. I don't know what's going on down there.
Yeah, you do. We all know what you're doing in that Travelodge.
But I did do mobility on the bed, foam rolling to... And it was early to bed. It was early to bed for most of the week, which is good because I don't know why, but I'm really struggling to sleep at the moment. I'm dropping off, but I'm waking up. I'm feeling quite restless. I'm not too sure what that is, but I'm taking the positives. Like we mentioned quite often that I miss my strides, my foam rolling, the mobility always seems to go by the wayside when I'm home and my week is pretty full. But when I was away from home, I seem to have a bit more time for that. Nice though, being down south, I know those trails around the River Stort and Harley Carlo. I love the mountains, I love the sea, but I also love that when urban towns meets
You
nature
love
too.
that, don't you? You love the city.
I can hear the train. I'm down on the canal. There's a capsized boat, loads of trolleys, and the train's chugging along in
Do
the
you think
background.
that's where you'll end up? Somewhere down on a canal with your red shorts
God,
on and a
no way.
bobble hat. You'd be so happy. Never showering.
No, that's not me. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed new trails, but glad to be home. Rinse and repeated for the weekend. So one thing I mentioned last year I neglected was the back-to-back long runs. Yeah, so far so good. It's only week 3 of 2025. I managed to do that. So Saturday and Sunday, runs in the Dean with Robbo, Rex, and on Sunday, my goodness me. So this was a sensational. I'm visualising Northern Traverse so much in my thoughts that maybe 2026 it's going to happen. But this run, you say I'm trying to grab 40 minutes here, 20 minutes there, and the accumulation of the miles at the end of the week might not be too bad. But I thought Sunday's run was incredible Northern Traverse prep. So I did a loop of the village with Rex. Then I went out and did some time with my mates in the Dean. Then we sat in the cafe for half an hour, had an incredible warm, buttery, home-baked cheese scone and a cuppa.
Terrific.
It was incredible. But I just thought that was really specific and good. Again, taking positives out from this kind of mixed up situation. That was good prep. I remember running down the bank. We caught a heart attack hill and my belly was full of a cup of tea and a cheese scone. I was like, yeah, this is like me jogging out of Richmond. This is sensational. Sensational.
So never going to feel like that jogging out of Richmond, but we'll let you live that dream. You'd be jogging out of Richmond going,
maybe Patterdale.
Oh my God, I've got 50k of road and field ahead of me and I'm so sad. I'm going to call Eddie. She's going to sing me the whole of Evita from start to finish.
That'd be a DNF. But you're saying about running. Yeah, there's a part of my village loop where maybe it's 2 mile of actual running and sometimes Rex doesn't stop for a sniff. And it does, like when you're used to walking up hills or shuffling down a hill, climbing over stiles, it's like, oh my God, I've got to run for like 3 miles. This is not what I
We've
anticipated.
got quite a few like long straight roads and sometimes the dogs are like going for it and I'm like, come on car, let car come and then we can just step off this for a little for a little break. And they're always like, you carry on. I'm like, no.
No rush, it's okay. Entered another race. A friend of mine shared the link for the Old County Tops. So
you'd not entered it. I thought you had added another race to the already bulging package you're presenting me.
I know. I'm really looking forward to just leaving it all out there on that course. Go for broke. And it's going to be awesome because there's going to be loads of mates there and quite a few listeners too. So that's me from a trainer point of view. Week 3 done. Not the week I wanted. Very similar to yourself, I suppose. Not the week I wanted, but it's the week
we got.
And I think, I fired shots last week, maybe a little premature, because you never know what life's going to throw at you. So, maybe a little premature firing shots for All County Tops, but still 70 odd miles for the week and 6.
People will be,
I know. And I noticed anybody who's ran with me do like a wild week. I could be doing a little 6 mile, 5 mile village loop with Lisa.
4 weeks. Definitely.
Definitely more than that. So I'm not quite there yet mentally because I think I do love caffeine in my teas. We've got some decaf tea and I don't know, it doesn't quite cut the mustard.
Have you got decaf PG tips? That's the best decaf I've found.
Oh, we don't do that. We just do whatever Tesco's.
Well, maybe, literally it's about 30p more, Gary. So I think you're all right there.
But the decaf coffee, it's got such a small amount of caffeine in it. So I'm on the decaf coffee. I know caffeine is a diuretic. Lisa tells me that all the time. You shouldn't probably drink so much coffee. But I didn't realise how much it made me run for the bushes. And I did the maths. This is no joke. Lakeland 100. If I will still have some wheeze, obviously. I think Chris was saying he probably had about 4 wheeze or Lakeland 100. I could have had 20 plus wheeze.
Gary, I've probably run with you 3 or 4 times now. We've done long sections together. I would say every half a mile, I'm like chatting away to you. And then I'm like, where's he gone? I turn around and the little dragon is back out again. I'm like, at least turn away. Is
that's all lies.
Proud of?
But if you think, 30 seconds away times by 100 ways, you do the maths. That's going to be, 20 minutes? That's sub 24.
You could stop training.
No joke, yeah. So I probably should go full on decaf, see what that does. I just noticed again on Sunday I was with Robbo and we'd been out a few miles. I was like, I don't know how to weigh. this is incredible.
Do you think just maybe you're drinking less because you're just not?
No, I still drink quite a lot of decaf coffee and decaf tea, but the thing that really puzzled me was it never seemed to marry up with how much I drank. I didn't seem to. I weighed more than which is obviously impossible. You can't just magic.
We need
fluids.
Rebecca here to talk us through this.
Paul said something about prostate, so maybe I need to make a doctor's appointment.
Anyway, should we move on?
Yeah. Thanks, Precision Fuel and Hydration, for supporting Brew with the Coaches. Their website and newsletters are such good sources of knowledge, articles to read, and YouTube content to binge on. Check out their fuel planner, and why not book a free video chat with one of their awesome sports scientists. And it's not just about flogging stuff, lots of knowledge shared over at www.precisionhydration.com.
I was whining at the start of this podcast about fitting everything in, and I thought I can get an hour and 40. That will have to be my long run this week. So I went out and I just had a banana. Tis not enough for an hour and 40 run. So I ran an hour, and then Bryn messaged me saying, where are you? I'm coming out. I'll join you. So I ran back home. I was like, I'm just going to grab a gel. So when I just have a little tray that I shove sports nutrition or snacks that kids don't want, so I can just grab stuff. So grabbed a Precision Fuel and Hydration 30-gram gel. Thought that'll just get me through the next 30, 40 minutes. Off we go, running around again, chatting. 100 milligrams of caffeine. Gary. This is going to go either way. I'm just going to take it. And I said to Bryn, we're just chatting. I'm just going to take this caffeine gel. Let's just see what happens. Bryn didn't get a word in edgeways for the rest of the run, and I'd probably say for the rest of the morning.
How long does it take before it kicks in?
I think the caffeine is about 20 minutes, isn't it? So by the time we got home, I was like, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's hit the gym. Let's do this. I thought maybe that's what I need to do is take that caffeine gel just on my morning run, just like set me up for the day. Instead of saving it for races, like going into the night, just take it for the day and then come home and be absolutely wired.
Well, this is a worry actually with me trying to move away from caffeine and the benefits of it. If that's going to kind of cost me 20 minutes on a race, I don't know if I want to do that.
It used to be the done thing back when I was a triathlete that we would give up caffeine like 3 weeks before a race and then hit it hard. But then it just used to make me feel pretty ill because I just like to have I thought I was pretty immune to it until I took 100 milligrams, but that's also on an empty stomach and having run 14 miles. So it's probably, anyway, try it. Guys, if you're feeling a bit tired, take that caffeine gel, see how the day goes.
I know most of us have faster friends, or maybe you are the fast friends. Well, Louise has a faster friend and she'd like some advice around training together. How do you manage training with someone who is faster than you, as it can mean you push yourself too hard or compare and despair that you can't keep up? What's the best approach? I feel your pain, Louise. My training group, we've got, there's some guys someone did the Brass Monkey the other day and it was like, it was like 115 or 116. So there's a huge range of paces within my training group and it can work. Anyway, sorry. My best friend Rachel and I agreed to keep together for UTS 100k. And so on race day, that's what we did. We got round together, but I know there was definitely parts where Rachel could have pushed harder and was waiting for me as I did some extra faffing at aid stations, which I know irritated her, but it was amazing to cross the line together having completed it. This led us on to the next challenge, and we are now doing the Arc of Attrition 100 miler in a couple of weeks. Again, in the training, I've had moments where I have found it difficult to keep up and I've felt the pressure to run more as I feel I haven't done as much, etc. This has sometimes led me to maybe push a bit much or doubt myself. I use the excuse that I'm 5 years older, but I know it's just I'm not as skilled over the terrain and have as much endurance on the trail as Rachel. So what would your advice about training together in the future be? Stick to the same sessions, do your own thing. How do you manage the comparison and stay in your own lane? Rachel is a massive fan of the podcast has been saving up the episodes to listen to whilst on the Arc. She has treated me to a tea and trails hoodie for my birthday. Sensational. And we'll be repping in Cornwall when we are interviewed for UTMB again. Would be great to give her a mention as she's also turning 40 that weekend. Happy birthday, Rachel, and belated happy birthday, Louise. For a race especially, I'll lean on, say, Bob Graham round for myself and Robbo. We hashed plan And if that plan or somebody's race maybe put somebody else's successful bob going round into jeopardy, then we kind of went our separate way. But yeah, communication I think is the key. But you can do your own thing too. Training that I do, we'll all start together, we'll all set off together, we'll find a place where we're not going to kind of just drift off into the distance and never see each other again. It can be tricky, yeah, there's no fun. I think we did a Teen Trails recce a few weeks ago too, a few of my friends, and I was hanging off the back. Yeah, sad times sometimes. Trish, yeah, do you want to go first for this?
Yeah, well, sure. I'm going to be at the Arc 100. I'm going to be crewing. So if you see me, give me a shout. I'll try my best to look out for your teen top. I might wear my teen top as well. Woo. So yeah, I definitely feel the pain with I've got some rapid friends and I'm usually the one saying, let's stop and take a picture.
guys.
Yeah,
oh, you can
have a wee stop. Let's have a wee stop. But that shouldn't impact your training, because the reality is, when you're doing zone 2 training, which is your long runs, the vast majority of your long runs should be in zone 2 training. The parameters for that are huge. You know, I've got friends who are incredible runners, but yet we can still stay in zone 2 at the same level, and they are way, way faster than me. If you're doing a zone 2 long run, neither of you should be running off. That, you know, the parameters for that are huge. Okay, so you do not need to be. That shouldn't be a problem. So just remember that on your long runs. It sounds maybe that, you know, maybe kind of pushing a little bit on it. Maybe you're pushing slightly, your friend's just slightly at the top end of zone 2, but the parameters for that are huge. So bring it down a bit and just both decide it's going to be an easy day out that you both are going to enjoy. The second thing is, when you're doing interval training, like Gary said, there's so many different ways that you can both have the same effort level but still do the session together. So hills is a great one for that, where you have a hill session and, you know, for example, you might say you're doing, I don't know, 6 times 2 minutes or 6 times 1 minute or whatever. You can still do the same session. Likewise, you can do good threshold sessions on a loop. So I do that with a friend. We have a loop that we'll use for threshold sessions, and, you know, again, you don't have to be the same effort level because you're going to be on the same loop. And then it's a kind of cat and dog. We play cat and dog as well, so you're either chasing or you're running from, and lots of run clubs will have these kind of sessions because that's a great way to involve everyone together with a variety of different fitness levels. So I would say, yeah, you can definitely still do all of your training together. Your long runs, just make sure that you're both staying in zone 2 and identify that and state that from the onset, that this is a zone 2 run where you're focusing on fueling techniques, you're fueling on maintaining consistency. If you're not able to chat to each other, you're not in zone 2. So that's kind of the purpose of those runs.
And you can't chat if you're supposed to be out on a social run. You can't chat if you're 10 meters ahead of your friend. Stay together.
You know, again, just plan your interval sessions together. It's really good when you can do interval sessions or training sessions with a friend. So don't stop that. You know, definitely stronger together, and working as a team is a much better way to train. So I'd say maybe just sit down, figure out a couple of areas where you can work together and to get the most out of that. But cat and mouse games with interval training or on threshold loops or whatever, it's a really good way to do it. So yeah, just tie that down a little bit more. But yeah, look forward to seeing you on the Arc. Woo!
If you're the faster person in the group, I always think it's your responsibility. If you've got children, listen, covering their ears, don't be that. Well, I'll say with this or that. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. You are lucky. You've got a bigger, maybe a natural, stronger engine, stronger legs. You might have time to do more training. You might have to beat more training. So don't be the person that half shoulders everyone else and like running ahead and pushing the pace. You are the one. I do believe if you're in the group and you're the strongest person, you are the one that should be at the back of the pack. Like, let everybody else be a little bit more of the mother hen.
That's what I do, Eddie.
That's what Gary is doing. Be the one, you've got a few extra beats in that. If the person you're running with is working a tiny little bit harder, you've got a few extra beats to make good decisions. So just be the one that actually slows the pace down rather than the person that is and it's very quick. When you start in a group or a new group, it quickly works its way out. And if you are the one that finds the session easy, then just don't be that person. Be think don't try and make yourself feel better by always being at the front.
Carry more weight if you are.
Carry more weight. Do a 20-minute tempo session at the start. So Robin talks about sending Simon the Spaniel off, and she says, I make him do a 20-minute tempo when we start our long runs. Off you go, 20 minutes tempo, and then join me for the rest of the run. So if you are running in a group, and if you're the slow person in the group and you feel a bit sad, because that happens to me all the time, I always think, well, this is good training. They're making me move a little bit faster than I would. This doesn't reflect on me as a person. I'm still awesome. I'm just having a bit of a harder workout. And if I want to walk, I'm going to walk, and the rest of you can just wait, frankly.
That's why it works well, I think, if you're in a looped situation, because I'll just reflect on our group. Some people are doing marathon training, some people are training for Lake 100, some people are training for all county tops. We're all just there in the same space. We're doing our own thing, but we're all still together in that little kind of mini community. It just works.
Russell, you do a ton of work. You've run with the Kenyans, and they are sensational in running in a group, aren't they? You see them, huge packs. There's not one out front going, guys, I feel great today. What's up with you guys? How does that work? What have you seen?
Guys, this has been so helpful for me, because I didn't tell you this, but I'm actually coaching Louise. So I was so excited to outsource the question.
Oh, I see what email this has come from.
Doing my work for me. So thank you, everyone. I honestly was genuinely interested. Bex, have you got anything you want to add? Just because this is so super helpful for me.
I think it's just most important how it makes the person feel mentally, and don't underestimate that. And if it doesn't feel right on that day to not go with a group, don't go with the group. I think you've always got to listen to where you are.
Listen, she just pipes up with one sentence, and it's the best one.
We've waffled on for 10 minutes.
But yeah, Louise, I mean, I would just say, listen to these guys. They sound like we covered it all. There's so much stuff you can do. Personally, I find when I'm group leading, which I'm quite often in a position where I'm leading a group as the coach, on road, it doesn't show up as much as it does on the hills. So you can quite easily run as a group in zone 2 on the roads. But I have noticed personally that on the mountains, zone 2 can be quite different for somebody on a hill than somebody else, and you can get dropped quite quickly. Somebody needs to walk, somebody can still quite easily run. So it does show up more where these gaps can get quite big on the hills. Having said that, I do think it's really important that you do run with someone on the hills as well, especially this time of year, because it's just safer. And there's a lot of evidence to say that it does feel more fun and easier. Stuff that I do exactly like Eddie said, you can wear a weight vest or a pack. Even 5 kilos is going to massively even out the disparity. That really helps. Another one is like the cat and dog Trish said, was just maybe to use the terrain. So, okay, you're going to run as fast as you can to that hill and then get back to me. And you can quite quickly tire someone out so that they get back to you. They're quite happy to.
They might not like cat and dog.
Yeah. But if Rachel's getting a bit ahead of herself and she's annoying you, you just send her off on a little mission and then see how fit she feels when she gets back. She might not be feeling quite. So stuff like that works really well. And be honest about it. Like Gary said, just communicate. Look, you're quicker than me. You're finding this easier than me. Why don't we mix it up a bit so that you're feeling like you're getting the same benefits that I am, and then we can both work together most of the time. If it's a really important key session, sometimes you might need to think about doing that on your own, because quite often in a race environment, you are going to be on your own for lots of it, especially with these ultras. So it's good to train that as well. But most of the time, there's ways that you can change things around and change the parameters so that you're both out there together working hard.
And always be kind, because I've run in many groups, many long runs, many adventures. And even if you're like the strongest one or the weakest one, someone's tummy will turn. Someone will start being, there's no, doesn't matter how fit you are, you might suddenly, your knee might suddenly start hurting or something. Look after each other. Doesn't matter. If you go out on a group run, it's just a bit like if you're crew for somebody and you're running the closing 20 miles of the 100-miler, that can't be your long run, because it's just never going to be that. So if you're running with a group, it is what it is. It's going to be nice, easy, be social. If you're running out out ahead of people, or you're making the person run next to you sweat blood from your eyeballs. That's not you're not hitting the session right, and it's no fun for anybody.
Yeah.
Be kind. Hope that works. Good luck, girls. Happy birthday and good
Louise.
luck.
Happy birthday.
Good luck, Louise. You better smash it. We'll be waiting to hear back from Russell.
Yeah,
I'll be there on the finish
Trish will
line.
hand you some.
Interview.
Yeah, Trish will. Just make sure you half shoulder Rachel, just so your name comes in front on the finish line. Though I think she actually says they're not going to run the arc together. Is that the plan? You probably not sure of that yet, Russell, but they're not going to run it together. They're going to run it on their own. So best of luck, girls. And if you do run in a group, or if that is you, if you're feeling the tired one at the back, we hear you. And if you're feeling fresh at the front, we hear you. Just stay in the middle. Carry more snacks and be the first one to go. Just stopping for a wee again.
Best of luck, Louise and Rachel, as they take on the arc of attrition. Yeah, we've rushed this one out there just so you could be mid-race listening to this.
Who else do we know? There'll be heaps of you. I've seen lots of people on Facebook saying they're saving it for the race. So if you're out there, where would they be? Land's End. Zoe, Shane, we love you. Keep it going. Trish, I hope you're listening to this as you're trying to find those crew spots driving around. Good luck, everybody. Just remember, breathe.
Breathe and believe. If you've got a question for our coaches, then you need to head over to tiantrails.com, and there is a section there for Brew with the Coaches, and that will take you to a Google form, Google document. Yeah, pop your questions in there. Thanks, Phoenix Light, for sponsoring this week's interview. Don't forget, patrons can enjoy 10% off over at www.phoenixlight.co.uk.
My kids have started a little cross-country club, and they need a head torch at school because it's dark in Scotland at 1 p.m. And they're packing their little bags with their pea kit in, and I saw my Phoenix head torch being siphoned, and I was like, back in the head torch box. I think you'll find the older ones that, the batteries go. I've got some OGs in there. I was like, you can take one of those because I don't think you're going to need it for longer than about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Nice try. I'm not taking my Phoenix to school.
They've got good taste. They've got good taste,
but I think they're all right. I think they'll be all right around the playing field.
This week's guest is Mel Sykes. Mel has just completed the full
Literally,
winter.
She's still got the mud in her toenails.
Mel's an incredible athlete, an incredible person. I was fortunate enough to be pitching my tent near Mel last year's Lakeland 100. Yeah, I think her tent skills were a little bit worse than mine.
But I tell you what, her tea making skills are sensational. When we shacked up, it's not the wrong word to use, when we were recceing the Pennine Way, and I jumped in the shower, and when I came out, she'd made me 2 cups of tea, Gary.
Oh.
The perfect colour. And she said, Eddie, I've made you 2 cups because those cups look a bit small. I think you're going to need 2 cups. I was like,
sensational.
We are Betty's for life. Here's our chat with Mel. Gary's not going to get a word in edgeways on this.
No, he's not. Sorry, Gary.
It's okay. I'm used to it. Anything.
Right.
We are recording. I'm not too sure if you listened to us recently, Mel, but we do. We pop all our guests into AI to see how accurate and up to date it is. So it's quite. This one was quite funny, actually.
This is the best one I've ever. Initially, when he starts reading it, I was like, because we've only met in person once, Mel, I was like, I never knew this about her. And then the booklet. It will make sense.
Well, yeah. Melanie Sykes is a former English television and radio presenter. She is best known for hosting shows like Today with Des and Mel.
I was like, I never knew these days.
Let's do Lunch with Gino to Campo. Oh, this must be a highlight though. Going Out with Alan Carr on BBC Radio 2. Sensation. But then, you step back from TV because you had an unpleasant encounter with MasterChef host Judge Greg Wallace back in 2021. And you wrote about it in your autobiography. Sensation.
Them were the days.
Those were the days, eh? I think that's probably when you really went into the ultra running after that incident, and you were like, I need a fresh start, I need a fresh career.
Running away from Greg.
Do you remember that? Was it the Bodyton advert with Mel Sykes? It was like, do you want to flake with that? It was she was in an ice cream van.
She's a good-looking woman.
Yeah, she
Mel
is.
Sykes. I didn't realise she'd stepped away from entertainment because of an incident. God.
Mel Sykes is an ultra-marathon runner for Holmfirth, West Yorkshire. She has an inspiring story of resilience and determination. Mel was diagnosed with a rare brain condition called Chiari Malformation. Have I pronounced that right?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Get those terribly wrong, which caused her to lose her balance, suffer double vision and experience other severe symptoms. After undergoing brain surgery in 2023, doctors told her she might never run again. However,
she slapped him down. Can you imagine the doctor that told Mel that? I bet he regretted that when he left. Yeah, when he left the room.
Well, AI gets it wrong, Mel. Did that actually happen? Was that a kind of prognosis? Wow. Oh, my goodness me. However, Mel proved them wrong. Just 4 months after surgery, she ran an 18-mile race, and now she's preparing to take on the 268-mile spine race. Mel's journey is a testament to her incredible strength and perseverance. Generally a glowing report, but AI needs a bit of updating because obviously you've completed the spine race. You second at the Spine Challenges South in 2024 and then first in 2023. And I think there's a podium finish, Manchester to Liverpool.
Yeah,
50 miler too. So yeah.
Accidental podium.
But yeah, apart from that, how did AI do?
Yeah, it did well there. Yeah, it got everything right. Well, when it got round to the right Mel Sykes, but yeah, it was pretty spot on.
You don't need to hide from your past. It's fine. We're here.
Got to own it. We reached out to our patrons, and more than any other guest, they delivered big time. They came back with quite a few questions, so we will sprinkle them in throughout our chat. But before we get into all of that, we ask all our guests, where are you? I'm very jealous. What's the view from your window? And have you been for a run today?
So currently I'm in Fuerteventura, and the view from my balcony is of the sea and blue sky and sunshine, and it's perfect. Have I been for a run today?
Have I?
But I have managed to shuffle my way to the breakfast buffet, which is the win. Yes.
How's movement generally? You got shoes back on? Where are we on the? How many days are we post? 5?
So I finished Friday night.
6.
So
so really, you're still in the deep.
Still in the thick of it, yeah.
Yeah.
My ankles, the ankle bones are still a no-show.
Oh no, still.
Yeah. So they're still a little bit swollen, but I can shuffle about. It's a bit more uncomfortable with shoes on, but seeing as I'm in flip-flops, it's not too bad. Heavy flex.
What's the temperature? I'm always, oh goodness me, it's going to be like 20 odd degrees, is it?
Yeah, about 21. So
perfect.
Yeah, perfect for ligging about.
And you're not in school holidays, so what's the resort? Are you kind of like surrounded by who's there with you? Who's your holiday mates? Because I love holiday mates. Who's taking the sun lounger next to you?
Normally, I book when I go abroad, I book the cheapest hotel I can because you're normally off in day out on bike or running or something like that. But because I knew I was just going to be doing note this week, I've booked a little bit of a fancy number for myself.
Hello. You went 2-star.
So I've come to a golf resort. So really, in the day, it's really busy at breakfast with all the posh golfers, and then they go off playing golf all day. So pool's really quiet. So yeah, it's great. I'm just not getting disturbed by anybody.
Have you taken your dirty trotters into the swimming pool yet and soaked off some of that Pennine Way mud?
I have. I think there's still some bog in there.
There's definitely going to be some bog on us.
The pool boy is going to be going, what? Do you think, like when you go on holiday, you make up stories about everybody else? Do you think everybody's like chatting around the buffet going, have you seen that poor girl?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm here on my own, covered in bruises, fat ankles, just like shuffling about. They probably think, what's going on there?
She keeps crying by the pool. And she goes to sleep and then she wakes up going, no, not Burness, not Burness.
Oh, that has been happening. I think probably last 3 or 4 nights, just waking up in the middle at night thinking you're still at a checkpoint and thinking, gotta get. Did that happen to you?
Oh yeah.
Horrible.
Most of all in the spine than any other race, because it lives in that front of your brain for a long time. Where are you in the race when you wake up? If you got
always
a point
at Bellingham.
Yeah. I think that because I think it's just the hardest bit of the race. Like maybe not the hardest bit, but the sleep deprivation. You're so deep in the sleep deprivation around Bellingham to Burness that you almost leave yourself there a little bit, don't you? Because the rest of it is like you can't really, that Cheviot bit, like you wouldn't really, like it's there, but it's like you can't really remember it because you just stumbled around half asleep. Anyway, we get ahead of ourselves. Sorry, Gary.
We should do a survey. Where's the most trauma when you're dreaming? Where you kind of reminiscing?
I bet for most people it'd be Bellingham checkpoint because it is.
And you've still got such a long way to go as well when you think. Anyway.
We'll talk about the numbers in a bit, but it's pretty wild if people don't know. I suppose people, they might know, but they might not fully appreciate. I was looking at some of the splits over and open tracking and just that amount of time between not just the main checkpoints, even like say the interim ones, like say Tan Hill and stuff like that. It's like 10 hours or something like that. It's absolutely crazy. Anyway, if we were to turn up on your door, Mel, back in England, what's running like for you? Where are you going to take us? What's the local highlights?
Pennine Way, yeah. I'm straight up out of home, probably a couple of miles up onto Pennine Way, so I spend a lot of time up there. Maybe I walk for a while now. I think it's
Which bit are you directly on to, Mel?
So from like Wessenden Head down past the reservoirs, and then over to Marsden, Blackstone Edge. Between sort of Wessenden Head and the White House is my local trails that I spend a lot of time on. So
I've seen over on Instagram too, there's lots of pictures of you on your bike, tri-suits. So that's obviously part of your athletic journey. But yeah, what took you to the trails?
I'm not sure really. I've always run. So I started running when I was younger, ran for cross country at school, and then kind of got into triathlon maybe 2015-ish. Did a couple of those for a year, but it's just a faff. It's just such a faff having to fit everything in. I swam and didn't get any bloody quicker. Like whether I swam 4 times a week or whether I swam twice a week, I just did not get any quicker with it. I think with swimming especially, you've got to have done it from when you were younger to get you've got to have the technique for it. And I just didn't have the technique for it. So I plugged away at that for a few years, and then just drifted back to the running. And then like without else, you just try and find the next challenge, and you think you end up in a 50k, you end up in a 50 miler. Oh God. And then you're just in.
So with the triathlons though, because again for me that would be swimming would be, my goodness me, that would be such a struggle. Would you get out of the water and then slowly catch them all up again?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, always miles behind out at swim. Tended to do quite well on the bike. I think because where I live, it's so hilly. So doing all my training rides on the hills, and then a lot of the longer distance triathlons are run on the flat. So I managed to make some time up on the bike and then the run. And did pretty well at that, but yeah, I just didn't really enjoy the swimming. But you've got to get through that to get to good stuff.
Wish they'd drop the swim for something else, like not a duathlon, but a running, but like something completely different. Like an athletic thing. I can't think what. Game of hockey or something?
Yeah, just some
rock climbing,
different.
just something like something different. Right. Yeah, but rock climbing, onto your bike, and then the swim, and then a run. Why does it have to be a swim?
You could do that. Is it Hydrox? That's pretty popular these days. You could do that.
Yeah, burpees.
It's not my idea. No. Rusty Fox 46 has come in hard with a question. Rusty Fox. Not a question, but just a huge kudos on completing such a challenge, especially what Mel has been through with surgery. They don't come much tougher than the Yorkshire correspondent. She's such a great personality and will be an asset to the podcast. She is an asset to the podcast already. Can we jump forward from triathlon and back from the spine? So can you tell us a little bit about your journey, Chiari Malformation? Not something, Mel, I say every day or have had, but obviously close to your heart now. What happened? How did you spot something like this?
I've since found out that the malformation something that it's a hereditary thing that you've had since birth. So if I'd have had an MRI at any point in my life up until when the problem started, they would have found the malformation then. As with a lot of things, when you get a woman over 40, everything starts going south and
gets a bit lumpy.
It gets a bit lumpy, yeah. Things start hanging down. So that's what happened. And the consultant said to me, once you get over 40, as a woman mainly, that's when the symptoms can just completely come out of nowhere. So a lot of people have the Chiari malformation and they've had it all their lives, but they'll just never have any symptoms. Unless they have an MRI, they'll never know that they've had it. So mine started, can't even think what year we're in now.
2025 now.
3.
Okay, a couple of years ago.
In the summer, yeah. So when I was driving, I just noticed that like in the far distance there were 2 other cars, so I was thinking, that's a bit weird, but you just think it's your eyesight that's going. And that gradually came on over a couple of months, and then I had to stop work in the August of that year, and once I stopped work, that's when everything else, all the symptoms just came on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really quick after that, which I don't know whether it's one of those you just keep pushing through. Like the symptoms are coming on, because I'd done Lakeland 50 in end of July, and then all the symptoms started in the August. But I think when you're training for stuff, you just think, I've got another little niggle, or what's this weird thing? You think you're dehydrated, so I'm drinking more water. Why can I see 2 of everything? I better just drink some more water. But it turns out it wasn't that, and brain was slipping out.
So when did you get when did the doctors actually, because presumably you went to the doctor, or did you not? Because I know you're pretty tough. When did you go to the doctor, and when did they go, this is not just dehydration?
Well, I went to optician first, because the only symptoms that I were having were the double vision, but they did all the eye tests and he didn't seem overly concerned. He prescribed me some glasses, and I went back 3 weeks later, put the glasses on, but they just weren't doing anything. Went to my doctors a few times, but they didn't seem overly concerned. I think with my age and being sort of healthy, they didn't really seem too concerned that it was anything bad. When I were off work, I went and saw a consultant privately, so I paid to see a private consultant at Spire, and I was like, this just ain't right. I knew something wasn't right, but and he admitted me straight to hospital from that appointment.
Okay, wow. There was no nausea or pain?
No nausea, no pain. Wow. And that's a really weird thing about it, that it's all like the neurological symptoms. So when I was walking upstairs, I was having to hold onto the wall, left side of my face were like starting to droop, my speech was slurred, I couldn't use my left hand, couldn't like undo any bottle tops with my left hand because I couldn't do any of those fine motor skills. But I felt well, like didn't have any headaches, didn't feel unwell. It was just all this weird stuff. Really odd feeling, really, when you don't actually feel poorly.
And then you went to hospital. How soon then did you have the surgery? Because I've seen the pictures of the scar, and it's pretty.
It's a belter.
It's an absolute. I mean, if you can have one, you look like something from Wolverine.
I know. So I spent 8 days in Calderdale Hospital, and they sent me through that MRI tube, I think 5 or 6 times.
Poor you. They're pretty miserable in there. They're not even a nice place to have a nap, are they?
No, they're not, because it's too loud. It's too loud to have a nap. And then they were sending the images, because there was no neuro unit in Calderdale, they were sending the images to Leeds. And then I was just waiting to see somebody at Leeds then. But because I was out of area, it took a bit of time. So I got discharged from Calderdale after 8 days, and then I think 10 days after that I saw the neurosurgeon in Leeds. In those 10 days I was just sat at home because you couldn't do anything.
Were you frightened, or were you like pretty pragmatic?
I just wanted to know what it was. It was weird because I didn't feel unwell, but all this stuff were happening. It was just, I don't know, it's a really strange feeling. And then obviously they tell you, oh, don't Google, but you do.
Of course you do. Yeah.
Which is never a good thing. Yeah. And then I got my appointment through, kept calling Leeds every other day because they'd told me at Calderdale that I'd probably be seen within 48 hours, but it ended up being 10 days later. But I mean, that's just one of them things, isn't it? You can't do it. And as soon as I saw that Mr. Anderson, that was on the Tuesday, he just knew exactly what it was. Got me back in on the Friday, and the op was on the Monday, 16th of October.
Were there like risks involved with the operation? Were they like, obviously any sort of brain surgery is like, were there like risks of like, I mean, I hate to say like, was the biggest risk you're not going to run again? Or was there like, this could affect your movement, your speech, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think there's so much that goes through that tiny area at the back of your neck, where they're working on your brain stem, that one little slip and paralysed is, you can't think about any of that. You can just think he knows what he's doing. He's done it before. Like, it's just
so.
Like
why did he say you might not run again? Why was he quite adamant about that? Because
just because of the recovery from it and the recovery from the op. I do know 2 other people that have had operations for this Chiari malformation, and none of them are running again. One's 7 years post-op and one's just over 10 years post-op. I don't really know why.
Yeah.
How are your symptoms today? Like 2025 now, a couple of years on, are you symptom free?
It's just my balance. So every so often I'll just fall to the left a little bit, but that's only if I'm on like either crossing stepping stones over a river, just when you've got to focus on a specific point. And then I was still wearing some glasses with a prism lens in to correct the double vision up until about 5 months ago. And then I could stop wearing them. So that one more or less exactly a year after the op.
Can you put those on next time I see you, please?
Oh, they're amazing. They're amazing.
So you wake up from the surgery. How does that feel when you're like, I'm alive?
Well, it's weird because if all happened during the surgery, you just literally don't know about it, do you? Because they put you to sleep.
Because you go to sleep and then
that'll be it.
Yeah. Oh no, don't say that.
So I woke up for 3 weeks, well, maybe for a month after, the headaches, the pain, the headaches, horrendous. So I spent 3 weeks at my parents', curtains closed, eye mask on, any little bit of light. Oh yeah, any little bit of light that came through, my head was just pounding. I mean, they gave me
like, it's like you're a teenager again, Mel.
In my dark room, my mum bringing me toast in every so often. Are you all right, love? Yeah, I'm all right.
So you were literally like, I guess you can't watch TV, you can't read, you just sort of...
I was just laying there, we're just laying
with your own thoughts, Mel.
Laying looking at dark for ages, until the headaches subsided. I mean, they give me the good stuff. They give me the morphine and, I couldn't have that once I went home. It was just codeine then, but
you must have felt pretty rough. And then coming out the back of that, when did you think, I mean, obviously I know you'd have been like, the minute you were awake from that operation, you'd been like, I'm going to run. When can I run? How did you introduce then like running back into your life after that?
Some of my friends came and started to take me out after about a month.
Come on, time to get out now. Let's get her out.
Here we go. Took me on a couple of walks, just pottering about to Endert Road and back. And then I can't remember when I first ran, actually, when I first gave it a go. I did the local Santa Dash in December, but that was just walking in my Santa suit. I think maybe January, New Year, I had a little bit of I'll just go and see if I can do this. And the weird thing was, when I first ran the first couple of times, it were like in my chest where there were pain, like a heaviness. So I'm not sure why why that were there. But yeah, a couple of times, but managed to just do a little bit more and a little bit more.
It must have been awesome when you did the second South Summer Spine, when I think your time was like, it's only about an hour difference from pre-up. So that's phenomenal.
I couldn't believe that, really. And we'd sort of power hiked from Hebden Bridge. I think what I'd done the first year, though, because I hadn't done anything like that before, I set off over all that, obviously the trails that I know near home, got really, really giddy, got to Hebden Bridge, blew up, and then walked most of the second half. So when I did it the post-off, I'd set off a lot steadier. So even, and sort of managed to hike the second half a lot faster. And weirdly, the times were only sort of an hour difference, which just shows with those long distance things, it's not all about the speed, is it?
I think it's wild how, even though you're walking, you would think you couldn't really slow down too much, but sometimes the difference between a kind of a fast walk and a slow walk is quite spectacular. And yeah, it proved it in your second attempt. Fantastic. Okay, we'll go to fast forward a little bit. Jonathan Jameson from Patreon, he asks, well, why the winter spine? Why would you want to spend 132 hours, 23 minutes and 35 seconds on the Pennine Way?
Well, I'm asking myself that now. I think it's just, so obviously where I live, I go up every January to watch the spine come through, and I have done for years and years. And it were always one of those things when I went up and I thought, look at them crazy buggers having to do that. And you just think, oh, I'll never do that. I'll never do it. And then the niggle gets in, and you get involved in the ultra running. And then someone says, oh, have you thought about? And you're like, no. Oh. No, don't talk to me about it. Don't talk to me about it. And then you think, actually, maybe I would like to have a go. Just the grit of it, and knowing that you're going to have to push through, and it's a challenge for yourself to be able to even attempt it, isn't it? Even to think that you're capable of standing on the start line. But yeah, that were why I wanted to do it, just to see if I could.
Do you think, coming from your surgery as well, was that little bit, Dan, one of our patrons wants to know, when did the seed get planted? Before your surgery, was it there? Was that your plans, or was it more after your surgery and you were like, life's too short, I'm going to do this? Yeah,
definitely the second one. I think going up and watching the race, I'd always had the niggle that maybe I would like to enter it at some time, but then definitely after the surgery, I would have liked to have done probably some of the other winter races, the Northern Challenge. Just like built up to it. But I just thought, do you know what? You just never know what's going to happen. So you've just got to enter something and crack on and try and train for it.
It's really tricky because you could have a stunning summer and you could have a horrendous summer, really wet and humid, or you could have a pretty lovely week in January. In theory, would you prefer a winter or a summer spine?
Oh, winter, absolutely.
Yeah,
definitely winter. Yeah, I think with the winter, because you've always got the option to put more layers on to make sure you're warm, whereas in the summer you can strip down to basically your vest, but then you've got nowhere else to go after that, have you? So
you've got nowhere to get cool either. There's not, once you're out, like, there's not a ton of shade on the Pennine Way, is there? If it's hot, I'm trying to think of like long stretches in the trees. I mean, I can't think of very much at all. And of shade and stuff. A lot of it is very exposed if it is really hot as well. And then there's no fresh water sources for miles.
No, where you can get more fluid, clean fluid. You can get fluid, but not sure whether you want to drink it.
I heard something, it must have been when I was doing my research, Mel, I heard, goodness me, I'll forget the other podcast, but the host on that podcast said every church, or pretty much most churches, have an outside tap. So if you are on the trails...
But there's not a lot of churches on the Pennine Way either. No. It's the place where God doesn't go.
I suppose I'm just fixating on where everyone has a little snooze in the church. Loads of questions on training from Terry, James and other patrons too. What does training look like for you, Mel? Are you coached? Do you follow an app? This isn't impossible. Like, I don't even know how you train for a winter spine race, but would there be like a training block that you'd set 6 months aside to train for this race?
I'm a bit of a wing it warrior, so I don't have a coach. I basically try and run most days, but I'll just set off. If I feel good, run a bit further. If I don't feel good, go home again. Don't do any intervals or speed work, even though I know I should. But because it's quite hilly where I live, I feel like I get quite a lot of that from the hills. So I do quite a lot of elevation. Training wise, it was sort of building up from the up really. And obviously we Lakeland 100, got to that first, and I thought if I could get around Lakeland 100, then I could try and keep building for the winter spine. It was probably a bit too long. I think if anyone was following a training plan, they'd have probably had a bit of a shorter build, but really I've been building since the last year.
Yeah.
I don't really know. But yeah, I had a 50 miler in May that I thought that's the first one to hit, then Lakeland 100, and then just try and carry it on. I knew we had our recce weekend, so that 3-dayer, which were absolutely brilliant. And I thought if we can do that 3 days on the bounce, then I've got a chance of getting there. But look, just loads of steady miles, steady plodding, hiking, going out most days, trying to be consistent with it and train with a bag as much as I could.
And that would be the same if you were to do was it the Liverpool to Manchester or Manchester Liverpool or the Lakeland 50?
Yeah,
just same.
She's Yorkshire. She just goes out and just outside is training enough in Yorkshire.
Yeah, it is in grim weather most at time and slogging away up the up Pennine Way.
It just shows you that, doesn't it? Like sometimes I'm probably guilty of this. You can overcomplicate things and just getting out there. I think Sabrina Vigie was the same. She just kind of opened the curtain that day. Yeah, Courtney.
What's the day going to hold? Mel, let's jump into a bit more of the spine deets now. Just feel free to just to let it all out. But, let's just talk through. You're on the start line. How are you feeling? What are your expectations? Because there was a lot of chat about, there's so many women on the start line, of which there was. But were you like, I don't need that noise. This is my race. Or were you like, I'm taking you all down?
No, there were never any taking anyone down. I couldn't take anyone down. The goal was always to get to the finish. In my head, I always had that picture that I were going to finish, which I think you need for something like that.
So good, yeah.
The goal and the vision of finishing was always there. It was just how I was going to try and get there. The week leading up to the spine, it's stressful. It's a stressful race to prepare for with the kit and then knowing you've got to go to kit check and go back. So yeah, it was quite a stressful time the week before when I was just thinking, but as soon as you set off, it's just all that goes out a window and you just think, right, gotta crack on, do what I need to do.
And there was lots of pictures of the conditions, especially in the first 100 miles. What was it actually like out? She's not happy. What was it like, especially for someone with a few balance issues?
Oh yeah, my legs are absolutely, legs, hips, everything just covered in bruising. Various stages of purple and yellow bruises all over my legs. So I took quite a few but I think everybody did in those first few days because you couldn't tell if the slabs were wet, if they were icy, you couldn't tell what were under the snow. So there was some really deep bits of snow. And then as soon as you put your foot down, there were ice underneath it, which was...
Did you put spikes on?
I did, but miles too late. So I only put them on going up Fountains Fell.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. Really, I should have had them on after Hebden, I think.
Yeah.
I saw some pictures. People had them on even up Jacob's
Ladder. I
Ladder,
think Lucy had them up Jacob's Ladder. Yeah, she looked like she had them on quite early on. I think I'd have had them on just because I know how tiring it is to fall and slip all the time on snow.
Yeah.
But they're not comfortable to run miles and miles in. That's the problem as well. You were probably thinking that too. We're like, I could hurt my feet.
Yeah, and then I knew there were a couple of sections between where you went onto roads. So I didn't want to run on road in them. Yeah. But I should have put them on after Hebden Bridge, really. I think some of those trails after Hebden Bridge were absolutely just draining, really, really draining.
Mark and Holly would like to know if you've got any advice or tips on self-distraction so as not to think about the mileage left. And I guess when you start like Hebden Bridge, how did you feel like when you got to Hebden Bridge, which is quite a feat in itself? It's a long way to get there and you're really just cutting the cake, aren't you? You're just starting. How did you feel when you got to that? Did you think, this is brilliant, I'm in it now? Or were you like, oh, shoot?
Oh, no, loved it. Absolutely loved it. Yeah, loved getting to Hebden Bridge. Obviously, they'd moved the checkpoint because after the race had started, they'd tried to get to the scout hut where the checkpoint is normally, and they couldn't get there. I think the water
So was
off.
it better where it was now? Because that getting to that scout hut. Oh no, was it? Because getting to the scout hut is pretty rubbish down that like treacherous bank.
Yeah, well, when they first told us that it had moved, I were over at Moon because I thought, oh yes, we don't have to go down that horrible descent. But what it ended up being, I think, I'm not sure how much further forward it was, maybe 4 miles. So then it's already a long section, isn't it, from Hebden Bridge to Oars, and it just made it
another couple of hours even.
Another couple of hours, so it made that bit really long, but they did great to get all that stuff down to that new area. And the checkpoint staff in Hebden Bridge were absolutely brilliant. They were really, really good. They were on it. You were in, you were sorted, and not like fussing over you, just getting, I mean, they've all done it so many times, haven't they? But they were just on it. But I felt great at Hebden Bridge. I knew it had been tough, that first bit, and I knew the next bit were going to be the worst. But because it's all on home trails, and I'd seen a few people at the mountain rescue tents that I knew that were working there. So, first bit were ace, loved it.
I can't get my head round it. You leave Hebden. Sorry if I've got the maths wrong, but it's about 12 hours Hebden. Hawes, 43 hours. That's 30 hours. Like, I can only really say, Dragon's Back, I suppose there was a bit more self-sufficient, but Lake and 100, you've got to say maybe 8 miles. That's a stretch. And even then it's like, oh my goodness me, 8 miles. But 30 hours.
Gary, I can't wait for your Northern Traverse experience.
Are you just thinking, I love it, I can't wait, or oh my goodness me, 30 hours?
That all kind of went a bit south, because I was thinking, with the time that I'd done on the Challenger South, I thought I'd get to Hawes about like 10 o'clock on the Monday night. I eventually crawled in to Hawes. I was already way behind. It's just such a battle. It was such a slog. There is a little Triathlon Club's aid station, so I sat in there for a little bit. But that were a long way. And I think looking at the dropouts from the race, that's where most people just bailed between sort of Malham and Hawes, because it were horrendous. It were absolutely horrendous.
Why was it so horrendous? Was it like the underfoot conditions or the weather?
It were fine to Malham Tarn, because obviously you're going on the river, aren't you? It's quite nice on there. Left Malham Tarn to go up over Fountains Fell, and it was just like mid-thigh deep snow going up Fountains Fell. And then just as obviously the Challenger South people had ploughed, bless them, they'd ploughed the path through. But I knew it wasn't on the Pennine Way, because the Pennine Way was on my watch. But you just had to follow the footsteps of where they'd gone, because as soon as you stepped off to the side, you were back wading through thigh-deep drifts.
Oh, that's hard.
So we were like snaking up Fountains Fell, and I was thinking, this isn't the right way. But what do you do? Do you like plough alone or stick to the path? Summited Fountains Fell, and then the wind and the rain and the fog came in. Going down the other side was just horrendous. Spent most of it on my ass, just sliding down, because that was quickest and safest way to get down. They diverted us around Pennygent, so we went down where the Three Peaks route comes up. That wasn't so pleasant either. And I got into Horton, a complete mess. Went into the women's toilets. There was a safety team guy called Ian, and he was there in the toilets in Horton. He came in with me. He says, I'll just have to message HQ. I was like, I'm not dropping out, Ian. Don't tell them I'm dropping out. I'm not dropping out. And he was like,
I've had conversations like that too. What are you telling them? What are you telling them? We don't need to tell them anything. Just
I am not dropping out. You don't tell them I'm dropping out. And he was like, no. And he just said, Mel, can I do what I need to do? And I said, yeah. So wet stuff was off, dry stuff was on, bivvy was out, sleeping bag out. He blew my mat up, and I curled up in a ball on the toilets of Horton public toilets, the female toilets, for 2 hours. And I just laid in my sleeping bag in a ball in the corner of the toilets, because he said to me, you are not setting out on that Cam High Road in the state that you're in. And
no,
it was
it's
right.
but I think it's almost, that's more That's so exposed. Like you're going into your second night. You're really like, it's almost worse than the TV. It's that Cam High Road, isn't it? Of like endless. And it's so exposed and there's no signal. They can't get to you once you get up there.
No, and that's what he said. He said, if you set off up there and realise that you're not going to make it, but basically we can't, it'll be hours and hours until we can come and get you. So I curled up in a ball in my sleeping bag. Yeah, on the floor of the toilets. I think I was there 2 hours. And then I heard a noise in the toilets and peeked my head out of the little hole in my sleeping bag, and there was another lady in there, Bev, who was just stripping all her wet stuff off. And she said, do you want to come with me over the Cam High Road? So she waited for me while I got dressed again, and we both sat out together. But it were, 8.5 hours, I think, just for that Cam High Road.
Wow. Which is like how many miles? It's not, it's like 15 miles.
13, I don't know, 13, 14 miles. Eight
I
and
didn't
a
want
half
to say in
hours.
case you went, no, Eddie, it's 20. I think it's only about 15 miles. Oh, man alive.
Yeah, 8.5 hours on there, because that would just, so again, you were just stepping in on the holes that other people had created, and as soon as you stepped off to the side, you were up to your ass in snow. But then you couldn't get out. Like once your leg had dropped down, you couldn't climb out because you put your hand on and that just sunk. So, that were tedious. I think that's where most people dropped, actually, between they either didn't set out on the Cam High Road or they got to Hawes and just thought, sod that, I am not going out again.
When you got to Hawes, like, what was your mental state like? Because you're 100. Are you 100 miles in at Hawes?
I think 102 miles in or something. Yeah.
Did you have that little noise going, you're not halfway, or were you just like, this is it, a minute?
This is it, a minute, yeah. There were never, in the whole race, there was never one point where I thought about dropping out. After what happened in the toilets at Horton, that was probably right on the edge of what I would have been able to bear. And going over the Cam High Road when we dropped down in, I think if there hadn't been an aid station in Hawes, that would have probably been it for even more people. But you can go in there, sort of get sorted out, and then go and have a bit of a sleep. So I had my first sleep there and knew the forecast for the next day and for the rest of the week were to get better. So yeah, managed to get through that horrible bit.
Did you do it all with Bev then, all that? Because she dropped out, didn't she, really sadly?
Yeah, she got to Dufton. So we'd done the Cam High Road together. When I got up in Hawes to set off for the next day, she was just getting ready. So we set off up Great Shunnefeld together, but we split about at Keld. She was going to go to the tea room and I wanted to carry on. So I carried on to Tanhill from there. And then, she came in Tanhill just as I were leaving. And then I saw that she'd got to Dufton and dropped out.
Such a long way.
I know.
I hope you're all right, because you've done it. Like Dufton, like you've gone so deep to then stop there.
Yeah, I think it was a knee. I think she'd done something to her knee coming down into Dufton, down off High Cup Nick, and I'm absolutely gutted for her.
You never know, do you? I think it was Hut 1 or Hut 2. I saw someone at DNF this year. It's heartbreaking when you're that close as well.
So close. It's just, it's the time. Like you think, there's only, even from Hut 2 to the end, you think, what? I don't know how long's left, 6 mile maybe, but you've got to go up and over the shill and then down, and it's just like looking at the map and distance wise.
Shall I read some of your WhatsApps as you were on that bit, Mel?
Yeah, go on.
Your funniest WhatsApp to me, I think, came. You say, "I bought a ticket to the front seat of the struggle bus, and I'm enjoying the ride."
Yeah, it was something like I'm top deck front seat on the struggle bus.
One-way ticket. Oh my goodness.
One-way ticket. We got so many questions. I want to make sure that we get through some of them. Gary, what do you want to ask?
Well, last one for me on this, hallucinations. Did you have hallucinations? Must have.
Yeah. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic ones. Mainly animals. Sometimes people that popping up, but for some reason, a lot of bones, a lot of skeletons, a lot of bones, a lot of skulls. I don't know what's that. I don't know if that's something to do with your mental state or what. I had them the first time when I did the Challenger South, so I knew what to expect this time. So rather than looking and thinking, oh my God, what's that? You're just like, oh, yeah.
Oh, you're here. You join me again, my faithful minor fairground friends.
You can both talk about this. You've both done these like super big challenges. I've only ever hallucinated once. If I did it again, am I going to kind of recreate the same kind of hallucinations, or it's a new ride every time?
Oh, it's a new ride.
Yeah, I think it's different. Like the Winter Downs 200, I really enjoyed the fairground scene that kept playing out in my head. And then the Spine, I saw like my dad a lot. He was all around in the Spine. He hasn't come back again in the Winter Downs 200. Did you have a sleep strategy, Mel?
I thought about sleeping I actually worried that I wouldn't be able to sleep at the checkpoints because of the noise, but I think by the time you get there, you're that exhausted that wasn't really a problem. That was one of the main things I was worried about. I just thought they're going to be so noisy because I'd volunteered in Hawes last January and didn't hardly sleep even as a volunteer because of how much noise there was.
Hayley Bennett wants to know about food. She says, I enjoyed listening to the Spine Media team talking about each checkpoint signature dish, lasagna tandoori. Oh, so I want to know what you enjoyed most. She wants to know what noise you made when you ate it.
What noise?
Might be just a...
Favourite checkpoint was lasagna, obviously at Alston.
How many portions did you eat?
4.
Yeah, 4's good, isn't
it? 4 were a good amount. Breakfast at most checkpoints was always cold rice pudding and jam, which I've never had for breakfast before, but works well. But all the aid stations, the food is really good. They really do look after you, don't they?
And they want to feed you, don't they? There's always someone hovering going, do you want some more? Tea? And you're like, yeah,
just anything, whatever. Bring it on.
Did it help that you'd volunteered? Because you knew what to expect at checkpoints and you also knew what people looked like, because then it's slightly less scary when you're getting to a checkpoint in that absolutely destroyed sense, because you've seen people come into Hawes before.
Yeah, and you know that they know what they're doing, because a lot of the people that are at the checkpoints, they do that every year, don't they? The checkpoint team. There's 1 or 2 new people in there, but a lot of the people in Hawes were people that I'd volunteered with. Kirsty was there. They just give you enough attention, but without being too overpowering, because a lot of the race I spent on my own. So then when you do go into a checkpoint and it's, what do you want, what do you need? You're like, whoa, I hadn't spoke to anyone for 24 hours.
Yeah, give me a second.
Give me a second.
Sharon Dyson, who you'd have met at Burness at Ollie's, she's brilliant, isn't she? And I said, your guys are so good, because if you looked at somebody that, and you know these people and they love you, obviously, and they never look at you and go,
oh my God.
No, oh my God, what happened to your face? They always look like this is totally normal. This is all totally normal. And you're like, you can't even take your laces off. You're like, and they're just like, okay, cup of tea. Nice cup of tea, Mel. Yeah, nice cup of tea. You'll be all right. They're amazing in that they just normalize it and there's no emotion. Yeah. And there's no, like, I've never been shown at a checkpoint like, do you think you should carry on? None of that discussion is ever, it's like you have to initiate that if you wanted to. It's all to help you, which is, and I think like if people are thinking about doing the Spine, I would say before, volunteer. So you can see, because I think behind the media team, which are brilliant, you don't see what the people arriving in checkpoints are like. But what's amazing, Mel, is that you arrive at these checkpoints absolutely destroyed, but then ruined, you leave back at 6 kilometers an hour off your trot, which is just incredible.
That was a big thing for me being at Middleton, was it did, not that I ever really fancy doing the Winter Spine, but it instilled this belief that people came in looking absolutely trashed. 2 hours later, 3 hours later, whatever it was, they wouldn't skip out, but they were moving again. I was just like, and you just lean on your own experiences, and I just think, I couldn't imagine doing that. So yeah, definitely volunteer if you're at all thinking about doing it. Definitely volunteer, because you'll see it all, and I think it will give you some belief that you can kind of get up and go again. Questions. Susan Wilson, checkpoint admin. Have you got like a list, a spreadsheet, you're ticking things off, or does it all go out the window as, tiredness kicks in? You have been a volunteer, so you've seen people sitting there with that kind of 1,000
Vacant
yards,
look.
yeah, staring at their bag.
I had it written down and I had it tucked into the top of my drop bag, what I needed to do when I got in there. I think when I got there, I was more with it than I thought I was going to be. So I thought I'd go in like dribbling and crawling in and then have to look at this list and try and tick off what I had to do. When I actually got to the checkpoints, most of the time I could think through what I needed to do. So I was like, right, pop these on charge. Yeah, so it didn't end up being as bad as there was a lot of people just staring into the bags as normal. And they just needed like a little bit of a nudge to, what do you need to do?
Did you take too much in your drop bag or did you use everything in your drop bag?
I think just about right. Yeah, just about right, really.
Awesome.
All my kit I ended up using, which probably I wouldn't have done if it hadn't have been those first 2 days. I had way too much food carrying between the checkpoints. So I've been munching my way through that before I came on holiday.
Oh, that's good on you. What worked and what didn't, food and drink wise? Was there anything that you were like, I didn't expect that?
The instant mashed potato, which Lucy was the one that told me to get that. So the bags of the instant mash, they were absolutely brilliant because they're so quick to make up as well. So I had one at Malantan, a couple of places where there was hot water. They worked really well. And then I were having the Protein Rebel maple gels. So they're really good, aren't they?
Gary loves them. Gary, they're a little sweet, but you and Gary with your.
You can put them in your coffee. You can put them on your porridge.
Yeah, they're really nice. Then flapjacks I had. I can't even remember really, and then just munching on like sweets and stuff like that really until I got to the checkpoint, and then tried to have loads of portions of a proper meal at the checkpoint before your tongue goes furry.
Did you brush your teeth?
Oh yeah, brush my teeth at every checkpoint. Yeah, you needed to, didn't you? It's horrible, that feeling.
I had a film the other day and the dentist was like, have you got a sweet tooth, Gary? I'm like, Kit Chat, yeah, Paul, Jason and Charlotte, main bits of kit. Oh, they love, honestly, this is probably the most popular question. They want all the deets, your shoes, your jackets, your socks, your sock combo. Did you size up? This is a common thing I hear quite often, actually. People size up shoes for when their feet swell.
Yes, I wore the Innovate Trail Talons and I started in a size, I normally wear a size 6, so I started in a size 7 and then I changed I think it was at Hawes I changed, but that was just another size 7. So I ran the whole race in the same size, which was one size bigger. They were, really comfortable, really hard to fasten on the last 2 days. Like the laces were just about getting round because my feet were that massive. Socks wise, I use the deck shells, the knee length deck shells. Not one blister, got to the finish, not one heavy flex.
We use the trench foot cream. Do you use that?
It was Squirrel's nut butter. That's what I was using.
Mel is a podiatrist by her job, so her feet should be sensational, shouldn't they?
Sensational.
Like, if you came away and she went, they're rotted like mine are. Did you do any pre-foot care? Did you give yourself a little?
I just use Flexitol. Have you heard of Flexitol? I use that. That's just a moisturizer, so I use that 3 times a week. And that's what I do. That's all I do. And then the squirrel nut butter and the deck shell socks. But how people did that race without deck shells or waterproof socks, there was some real messy
not just the
feet.
wet, but the cold as well. Like the cold, your feet being in the snow. Like it's really bad for. I've got like a little bit of. This is how I say this to my mum. Just a little bit, mum. A little bit of nerve damage in my big toes and I'm sure it's from the cold on the spine.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my big toes are numb. Both my big toes, the ends of them, I can't feel them at all. So that must be.
Good luck when you start running again, because mine is still coming back, and I keep tripping up over the like. I'm like if there's a little bit of camber on the road, like that's dead toe. Right, so shoes, socks. What about like like your layering
backpack.
kit? Yeah, your jacket.
Backpack was the Innovate Race Pack 20, which managed to get everything in and packed down.
Did you name it?
No, I didn't. Do people name him?
Yeah, mine's Rog. Rog comes on all sorts.
Oh.
Eddie, just
I think
Eddie, Mel.
mine would just be that bloody backpack. yeah, that bastard backpack.
Bastard.
So that were really good. No chafing from that. Really comfortable. Yeah, I really liked that pack. I thought it'd be a bit saggy at the back. So at Hebden Bridge, actually, one of the volunteers put some KT tape across the bottom of my back because I just felt it rubbing a little bit. But yeah, no problems with that either. Layering. So I can't even. Oh, I had actually. My top was just an old cycling DHB Merino base layer. So I had that on.
What was your waterproof?
My waterproof was the Ron Hill mountain equipment.
Oh, of course it was. You've got like the classic Ron Hill one, haven't you?
Yeah, the mercurial jacket, which is absolutely worth every single penny that it is. Brilliant jacket, and that definitely saved my race. I've got two of those, a purple one and the green one, and they absolutely saved my race.
I wish I'd bought two, Mel. I've got one and it's getting a bit tired now. I wish I'd have bought two. If I knew how good they were years ago. I think I've probably got the one before you. The Shake Dry one is absolutely incredible.
Absolutely brilliant jackets. And I don't think they don't seem to do much on social media and advertise. I know it's sort of a well-known brand, but they don't seem to push it as much, do they? It doesn't seem as popular, but that jacket is absolutely brilliant. I did have the Ron Hill waterproof trousers on as well, but I ripped them across the arse when I was sliding down Fountains Fell, so they ended up with a big hole. So then I wore my Berghaus waterproof walking trousers for the rest of the race then.
But I think actually that's a really good way to go, because so much of the first 100 miles you're running, not just because you're fresh, but also the route, it is quite runnable in sections on that first, isn't? So waterproof trousers, and then actually once you're out of, I'd say like from Alston, really a good pair of walking trousers is actually, you're warmer, you're going that much slower. I would actually, if I did it again, would probably do that rather than having like leggings and then waterproof trousers that perhaps like you've got loads of styles after Alston as well.
Yeah, you have.
You're tired already. If you've got like trousers, especially for women, I just find waterproof trousers really cumbersome. I don't know why. Is there anything you didn't take that you would take?
No, not wearing kit wise. I would have had a better, if I'd known I were going to spend 2 hours curled up in a ball on Horton toilets, I would have had a better sleep mat. So I had the Thermarest, the really light one. Which would have been great, but the toilet floor was so wet and it was so cold that it just wasn't good enough for that. Actual kit-wise, running kit-wise, I wouldn't change anything that I wore. Everything were brilliant.
Couple more, sorry, I know we've gone on a bit, Mel, sorry.
Oh, no, you're all right.
I'm asking, you're right.
Yeah, loads of time.
What the spine gives us is massive, massive highs and some massive, massive lows. Did you have a massive low? Was there any point where you were like, I'm gonna ring my mum?
No, there was a couple of, after I left Dufton, I started crying going up Crossfell, and I cried climbing all the way up to the top of Crossfell, all the way down the other side into Annie's house. I was crying when I got there. She's lovely.
Why were you crying?
I don't know. I was sending Hannah voice messages, and I was like, Hannah, I'm crying, but I'm not sad and I'm not upset. I just don't know why I'm crying. I was just crying, but like I wasn't upset, and I wasn't thinking of dropping out.
Do you think it was like a little bit of a survival thing of like, this is so hard, I just need to make this noise to like keep me going?
I don't know. It was the weirdest thing, because I were having the best time going at Crossfell because the sun was out. There were a really nice cloudy version. I hit the summit at 4 p.m. So the sun was just going down. The view was amazing. I knew my friend Danielle was volunteering in Greg's hut, so I was looking forward to seeing her, but I just could not stop crying for that whole bit from Dufton. It was really weird because I wasn't upset. It's
emotions.
Yeah, just weird emotions.
I have to tell you sometimes when it's just everything seems to kind of fall into place, and it sounds like that was one of those moments. Yeah.
This is incredible. I'm doing this.
Oh
This is the
yeah.
best.
Well, the whole race, really, the whole race. Even the bits where I would cry in and the bits overnight. It's quite hard overnight sometimes, isn't it? Because there's a lot of darkness, and you're on your own. I were on my own for a lot of the race, looking at my little head torch circle. And what worked well, I ended up hitting the checkpoints, well, maybe 9, 10 o'clock most nights, which were ideal because then a couple of hours sleep and you set off again.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of dark.
Did you find, I always found the hardest bit like 3 till dawn, basically. Did you find that bit? How did you cope with that? Or were you just like sludging through?
Yeah, just sludging through. Yeah, I think because I left a lot of the checkpoints between sort of 1 and 3 in the morning. It's always slow that first bit anyway, because you've eaten, you're just getting going again. Your feet are killing because they're squidged into those trainers. So you're trying to just get them to. But that goes off after a bit, doesn't it? Every time you leave a checkpoint, you're like, my feet, and then it just. Or they go numb, one or the other.
Yeah. I want that feeling like leaving that you hobble out, and you're always a bit embarrassed because they come out to like say bye, and you're like, oh, don't watch me hobble away.
Yeah. You set off trying to run.
You're like, that's not going to happen. Did you listen to any music podcasts? What did you do to keep awake, or were you just like quiet?
I'd spent ages putting a load of songs onto a Spotify playlist, but I think I only listened to it maybe twice out of the whole 5 days. Once going up Crossfell to try and take my mind off bawling my eyes out.
The tears out.
And then I can't remember when I listened to the other one overnight earlier on. But that were it. The rest of the time I didn't have alt on. I would just looking round and thinking in your own head.
How does it feel as you're coming? You were messaging me when you were coming down into get it done, girl. How does it feel, that bit when you hit the road and you know you're going to do it? How did you feel, especially with what you've sort of overcome in the last year or so? Oh,
it was such a good feeling. I actually. All the time I've been thinking about the race, and even when we did the recce, when we were running down into you felt like you were tearing up even on our recce. So I expected that I'd just be bawling my eyes out, but I think you're just that relieved and you're that tired by then that it's more of a relief to get to the finish. But there was a little group of people stood before the last road climb, and they were like, oh, well done. And then that sort of, you could feel the tears prickling, but then I was just like, just get to finish. Just get there.
And were your mum and dad there?
Yes, my mum and dad were at the finish. Yeah, bless them. They'd been standing there. I think they've been there since maybe like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know what time I finished.
They didn't want to miss you, I'm sure. Yeah.
No, so they were keen, and they've been hanging about up there. But it's such a great finish line to be at the end of anyway, even though you're only seeing one person every like 4 or 5 hours. But
it's not an ordinary finish line, isn't it?
No.
Was it everything you expected it to be?
Yes, I absolutely loved it. I loved the whole experience of it. I got exactly what I wanted from it. The first few days battling through that really tough weather, then the bit along Hadrian's Wall when the sun were out.
I love that. And you're like talking to them. You're like, Mel Sykes really comes out, your media training there. You're like piece to camera when you're like, just do it if you're thinking about entering. And I'm like, that's because the sun's shining and you're on Hadrian's Wall and you're about to. I bet 12 hours early you were like, oh, I hate this. I hate.
Yeah, if they'd have come and got me on Crossfell when I was bawling my eyes out, it'd have been a completely different video. But yeah, I was loving life on that bit on Hadrian's Wall. But all that section I just hit in the day as well, and the sun went out, and it would just. Yeah, I loved all of it. Loved all of it. It would have hard graft. Like I'm not taking anything away from it because it was a bloody slog most of the time. But yeah, I loved it.
Would you do it again?
Do you know what I've been thinking? I've been wondering about this. I said no at first, but only because I had such a good experience and got everything that I wanted from that race. And if I went back to do it again, like what would I be going back for? A faster time that don't really
It's not
mean
guaranteed,
anything.
is it?
It's not guaranteed. No, like Laura said, so she went back to do a faster time, and her time this year was a lot slower because of the conditions, but she had a much better race experience. And I had such a great race experience of how it was that I think if I went back and had a bad experience, would that leave a bad taste?
Yeah, well, then you've got to go back again, because then you're like...
I can't afford to go back again.
I think Bryn gave me a really good bit of after the spine when I was like, I've got to go back. I'm going to do it better. I've learned so much. And he was like, go and write your story somewhere else. Just go and write the story somewhere else. There's so much other stuff that you can do. I never say never, but I'm like, actually, yeah, I'm going to write my story on different pages, because the spine, it does take your year out of you, basically. And yes, lots of people are serial spiners and go back again and again, but there's lots of other stuff out there. Charlotte, one of our patrons, wants to know, if you're thinking about doing the spine, what would your recommendation be of like the pathway into it? Because you did the south twice. Do you think that's a good little gateway into doing it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think obviously there's a lot of other ultras out there, 50, 100 milers, but the thing with the spine is it's specificity and the fact that it is self-supported, and it's such a long way from Hebden Bridge to Hawes. A lot of the other longer races, you'll get an aid station every 10 mile at least, or something like that. So I would go, spine sprint, Challenger South. If hadn't have had the brain thing, I would have done Challenger North and then the full, because going after 2 nights into the 3rd, 4th, 5th night, that would have been my ideal to do that. So I think definitely building up to it by doing some of the other races. But yeah, just gotta get in there, just get your name in the hat and do it. You can think about it for years.
Yeah, you can think about it for years. Just get your name down. I think once you've got your name down, then you get the fear, and then there's no going back. You
need to test out. You need to get used to that. These huge amounts of hours on your own between checkpoints, because like Mel just said, most of the races, like say 100 milers, you've got say 10 miles tops before checkpoints. So yeah, that could be a big shock to the system. What does the rest of 2025 look like? Lakeland 100, I know. I saw your name on that start list.
Yeah, Lakeland 100. I'm looking forward to going back to that. But again, with that, I had such a good time when me and Debbie ran together and we were chatting. And sometimes you don't want to go back to something that you've enjoyed so much in case it ruins it. But I would like to go back to Lakeland, so I'll be there. Apart from that, I haven't really got much else entered as yet. I wasn't really sure how the recovery from the spine will go. I think everything's just sore and bruised, but I don't think there's any lasting injuries apart from my ribs, because I took a nosedive about a mile from the finish and I've cracked all.
That takes ages. Ribs take ages. My goodness.
And then I got
laugh.
a call.
You're like,
that hurts to laugh. So that's the thing that I'm struggling with. Just where I felt a mile from the end.
What were you doing? What were you doing?
Well,
WhatsApping you probably.
Yeah. So there's like the descent down past the farm before you hit where the tunnocks thing is. And me and Martin, who had been toing and froing with on the race, we were walking, but I was just starting to get so cold. I said, I'm just going to run this final bit. Set off running, must have done 50 metres, tripped over a rock. Tripped over a rock face first onto grass, cracked my ribs, ripped all the pouch that's across my front.
Oh, no.
And did something to my left shoulder. That's my own bloody fault for trying to run when you've done so much.
Yeah, trying to drop Martin. You were like, I'm taking this.
I'm taking.
I'm going to smash you, Martin, on this final 500 metres.
And then tripped. Yeah, that'll show him. And then, so that's...
Did he just walk over you and go that?
Shaking his head, disappointed. So, yeah, the ribs. But apart from that, so I'm not sure how long it'll be before I start running again. Got some volunteering to do. And Tour of Skiddaw. I'm in for Tour of Skiddaw, Yeah, so
Well, I look forward to seeing you in the field in Coniston, end of July.
yes, we'll be there. Yeah, have you?
Both of us
You got?
faffing with our tents.
Yeah, tent wars. That's the main thing. It don't matter about the race; it's who can get that tent up first. You won. You won last time.
Gary will help you now. He'll put your tent up for you.
I did, yeah. I think I slightly pipped you. Yeah,
Yeah, you did.
that'd be great. Awesome. Should we do the quick five? Oh, one of these is quite frisky. After you don't want to enter some kind of.
Oh,
Well, I've just seen a few kit debates, so I don't want to kind of set ourselves.
Oh, it's not
up for a
frisky
big...
like fun frisky. That's
No.
dull frisky. It's like
Well,
me
the
and Mel,
first
we-
question.
Woohoo.
The first question is, Eddie and I, we're going to go for a run with you, but we'd love a cafe stop at the end of the run. Favorite
We don't
cafes
need
in
it.
your
We want it.
local area?
I've got loads. I'm a bit of a cafetora around where I live. I would go for. There's one called Culture in Slowett that does baked goods, the best baked goods. So that's where we would be going.
Good
for
coffee.
A giant, amazing coffee called the Grumpy Mule Coffee, which is a local coffee roaster.
We're there.
Right, we're there.
Any New Year's resolutions, and are you still sticking to them?
I don't make them. Never made them. No.
I'm always I'm generally disappointed with myself every day. So I'm like, why would I make myself more disappointed in myself for not achieving what I set myself out to do? So
I had a guilty tonics the other day.
Guilty tonics.
Why? Because you banned tonics from your life.
Well, I just banned.
Who does that?
Well-
What sick person does that?
If I'm running and stuff like that, because on the trails it's great. You can be eating M&Ms, minstrels, or anything goes on the trails. So there's plenty of opportunity to get my treats in, but just sitting having a cup of tea or something, I'm kind of got to keep my hand out that cookie jar. But yeah, there was tonics in the cupboard. And when you said about the big tonics...
You were fat. You licked your lips. I saw
container.
you.
Oh, I've seen it. It's sensational. Well, this is the potential frisky question. This comes from Sean, and Susan had a similar question too. But it would be great to know 3 things that you couldn't have finished the race without, I suppose, in your kit. And 3 things that were just a waste of space or waste. So I don't want to get into that waste of space because that literally would just ignite a fire over on some spine group. But maybe something that you didn't use.
I didn't use my stove. I didn't use a stove at all. But I think there probably was potential that I could have used it. I just couldn't bother to get it out. Didn't use my goggles again. Probably should have done over Fountains Fell, but that were another thing I didn't use. What else was in there? I didn't use my compass. So they were the 3 things I didn't use. The 3 things that I couldn't have done without was the Ron Hill Mercurial jacket, because that was fantastic. The Deck Shell knee-length socks, absolute lifesavers with no blisters. Probably my glove layering system. So I had some thinner, again, Ron Hill obsessed, thin gloves on, some warm gloves, and then the waterproof ones. So 3 gloves, and they were great for keeping my hands warm.
Or would that be just like, say, I've got these waterproof, it looks like a waterproof jacket basically. It's that same kind of material, it's just a shell that you'd put over a glove. Is that the same kind of thing?
That's why I had on, the Innovate, an Innovate one, just a mitten that goes over. Trouble is when you've got them on, it's easy then not to eat, isn't it? Because you can't open gel packets and stuff like that with those. You can't do it with a mitten on, can you? Apart from slap someone. You can do that to your face.
Well, that's why I always squeeze all my gels into a soft flask, because otherwise I just probably wouldn't eat.
Yeah, because by the time you've taken all your glove layers off, then you just think, lost half an hour there.
Bucket list race. We can dip into the Patreon coffers. Going to treat you, all expenses paid trip. Sorry, I didn't mean that. Yeah, bucket list race.
Now go all excited then. Just like,
what?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Do you know what? It was the spine. It was the spine. That was the one that was on my radar. I haven't really looked into some. I know there's quite a lot of good ones abroad, isn't there? But I haven't really looked into anything to know.
Does that tickle
yes, that one tickles my.
Because it's not too far. Thanks. It's not too far from you as well. The back end of that as well.
Yeah, I might have a look at that one actually.
What about they do all the same company do the spine race? They do the Arctic Ultra. Is that the same company?
Yeah, that's the same company, and they do like the Desert Ultra and that sort of thing. But none of those really. The thing that doesn't interest me is, you know, running a day and then stopping in a camp and then getting up and going again. I'd rather. Oh dear.
Yeah, that's great.
You'd be great at that. You'd become like the Yorkshire. You'd become like the legend in all the tents because they'd be like, we know what number Mel's in. We can
hear her.
Because you like all the chat. You'd be great at something like Kate Rath or Dragon's Back.
Yeah, but I just end up annoying everyone.
Yeah, a little bit of that, but choose your 10 mates wisely. That's what earplugs are for. I don't think you should close your heart to one of those yet, because I think you'd be really good at them too. But you've got to want to do them. So
yeah. Maybe one day.
Instagram story music time. Yeah, every week we share the podcast over on Instagram, Facebook, and other places like that. You get to choose the song choice, Mel, for our Instagram story. What's it going to be?
So I'm going with, even though I was crying all the way up Crossfell right to the top, just as I came across from the cairn to the summit and the sun was going down, my playlist was on and it was the Temper Trap and Sweet Disposition. So that was just playing as that song was on. The sunset was amazing, even though I was crying, but I wasn't upset crying. It was just, so that song, just as I hit that summit before I turned down to Greg's hut, that's going to be my song.
Great choice. It's in a film. I'm trying to think what film it is. Someone will tell us what film it is. Oh, I can't remember, but it's a really good part of a really good film. I was thinking, I had an idea, and maybe Mel can be our opening title to that. We should do a Teen Trails Spotify playlist with all the Instagram story music that everybody suggests.
Oh, what a great idea. I'll go back. We'll start that 2025. We will start
at 2025.
Well, you do Spotify. I'll do iTunes. I haven't got a Spotify account.
Okay, I will start it, and Mel's going to be the opening title, which I think is very fitting, Mel, because to finish off this interview, I know about you, obviously, because you're a legend, but we only crossed paths, only met you skin to skin. When was it? When did we do the recce? October? No.
November. 8th and 9th of November, yeah.
And you know, when you meet somebody, Gary always talks about radiators and drains, and I'd seen you in Debs do the 100, and I just knew that you might not like me, but I was going to force myself on you. What an amazing person you are, and to come through everything that you've come through with, like, you just the smile. You're a giver. Everything, you know, you do these massive challenges, but you're such an inspiration to anybody watching you. And we had this one, we were like, right, one spine person, who could we talk to? Then we chose you, and you very kindly said yes, even though you're on your holes. And the reason was just because you're just you're out there, you're doing the hard stuff. You don't make it look easy. You're really real. You put the work in. But I think as well, lots of people will be looking at you going, just the way that you do it and you approach it. And yeah, it's really hard, but I'm still doing it. And lots of people will be looking and listening to this and going, yeah, I think you should have a Mel Sykes sign-up code for spine. Did you hear the interview and then sign up? Because, we saw how hard you were working. We knew how hard you were doing, but we just also knew that if anybody was going to get to the end, that it was going to be you with a big cheesy grin.
It just shows all the patrons that reached out too. Everyone was rooting for you, Mel.
Thank you.
So I hope you feel that. I hope you feel that love, and don't rush that recovery. Go and enjoy your sunbed, and good luck with getting the feeling back in your toes. and I look forward to unzipping your tent at Lakeland 25. Hiya! Hopefully I'll pass across before then. But in the meantime, get the cankles up. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. What an absolute joy it was to
Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for reaching out and wanting me on. It's been great.
Oh, we love you. Rest up. Speak to you soon.
Thanks.
Yes. Take care, Mel. Thanks.
Bye.
I really enjoyed that. Super exciting to chat with Mel, and super exciting for the rest of 2025. And I think you'll all agree, she is a breath of fresh air. And I know it's more complicated this way, I categorize people into drains and radiators. And Mel,
she's definitely, No, she's my radiator in my gym. If only I could put her out there and warm up those dumbbells.
Stoked to have Harrier Trail Running as our Strava Club and Tales on the Trail sponsor. Harrier is the UK's fastest growing brand for trail runners, providing specialist kit designed for superior fit, comfort and function with the best customer support. Check them out for race vests, waterproofs, poles and other trails essentials at the Harrier Run Free website, where you can also download your free copy of How to Run an Ultra Guide. Yeah, I think I'm going to download that, Eddie. Use the code T10 for 10% off site-wide, or check out their brilliant trail bundles for a special 20% off. First up in Strava Club is Stuart Blofeld. New trainer week for Stuart.
Oh, it's my total dream.
I'm not knowledgeable enough. They're definitely New Balance and the 1080s, but are they has he gone and grabbed a bargain and got the version 13s, or has he gone for the brand new shiny version 14s? Yeah, if you listen to this, Stuart, let me know how you get on with them, because I need a long run shoe. I'd be super interested. But yeah, 68.6 miles for the week with the longest run of 20 miles, 623 feet of vert. Yeah, long run intervals and a workout with Adam. I wonder if that's like yoga with
Adam? Oh.
Adrienne. I'm not too sure. Next up is, I knew there would be some big numbers on this week's Strava Club. So when it rolled the dice and number 7 came out, yeah, wasn't surprised to see 170.2 miles for the week. And those numbers, those numbers belong to Richard Bulmer, and that's the Spine Challenger North. Oh my goodness me, 98 hours out on the trails for Richard, yeah, and 26,617 feet. And Richard, yeah, if you listen, we miss your poems, buddy. Last but definitely not least is Ruth Glover. Request to follow, so I'm not too sure what you have been up to, but my goodness me, longest run of 62.5 miles. And Eddie and I, we are racking our brains. We can't think what
Well, the only
event.
thing I just suddenly thought is maybe her watch died. So now I'm looking up spine results to see if I can find her going, maybe her watch died and she hasn't done anything.
I see.
Can't find her,
That's
though.
a good,
Ruth,
that's a
it's
good
a
point.
mystery. You're a mystery.
Well,
Love it.
76.6 for the week in total. And yeah, maybe the watch did die, but either way, it's saying it's the longest run of 62.5 miles, 5,062 feet of vert. Heavy flex time. This just says how awesome Ilona is. 2 weeks in a row, people writing to give Ilona a heavy flex. This incredible woman needs a huge heavy flex shout out. They say third time's a charm, and it's not wrong. She not only cracked it, she paced an amazing 4th woman at this year's Winter Spine Challenger South in conditions that appeared to be perfect for her. Oh yeah, I must be right then. I think she is finished, because described the race conditions as a reminder of her childhood walks to school. Excellent. Our trail running WhatsApp group was on fire all weekend, and we are also super proud of her achievements. Never thought dot watching would be so nail-biting. Ilona Morgan, you are inspirational. Ilona is out there smashing out adventures after adventures. Northern Traverse, the lakes, Cheviot Goat, the list goes on and on. Ilona has a can-do attitude. She's supportive and helpful to all of us with our trail running journeys. If it wasn't for meeting Ilona and her husband Phil at the Maverick race, I would never have found this incredible community and world of trail and ultra races. Big thank you. And Ilona and Phil are run leaders of the Kent and South East London Maverick Run Project, and she rocks up after big races to take us out on local trails. We get to hear all about the highs, lows and her learnings, and you'll soon feel as though you can conquer all of these events, and before you know it, you'll be signing up to run the races she talks about as you plod around the Kent countryside on your group runs. Massive achievement, Ilona. Congratulations on smashing the beast that is Winter Spine Challenger South. And if you know someone who has flexed, or maybe you've been flexing, then please let us know. This is your opportunity to big up a mate or even yourself. Email hello@taandtrails.com and pop heavy flex as a subject. Tales from the Trails.
For the Tales from the Trails this week, we thought we'd pull out something from Facebook from Andrew Hendry, who took some incredible photos for the spine. We are just going to quote him for day 3. Today started in Horton, waiting for the tail runners as they slowly trudged through the quagmires. Progress was steady, but painfully slow. By this point in the race, runners started to resemble, I just thought that happens the minute you leave Edel, started to resemble vagrants, dishevelled, unwashed, and with the infamous 100-yard stare. Conversations are slurred and hallucinations become a hot topic. Tail runner Amy was waxing lyrical about the beautiful clouds and insisted on finding her book of clouds to show me what she meant. I think she needed some sleep. Another runner, on the other hand, had already succumbed, fast asleep in the village phone box. Go and have a look at that picture. It doesn't look comfy. He really doesn't look comfy, but he looks happy. Later, I moved on to checkpoint 2 at Hawes, around 108 miles into the race. It was a hive of activity as medics tended to weary runners and volunteers kept them fueled with hot food. 11 miles further on, over the windswept Great Shunner Fell, lies the tiny village of Keld. The village hall offers weary spiners, you remember this, Gary, a warm fire, tea and cakes. Yes, this is still a race. It's a rare moment of comfort before they continue the journey north. It's these contrasts, pain and comfort, struggle and serenity, that make the spine race so compelling. His pictures are just absolutely incredible if you haven't seen them.
Thank you so much for sharing in the group. And you can close your eyes and listen to those words, or you can look at the pictures too. Equally, they paint. Yeah, it's such a treat.
They do really paint a picture. If you were like, when people are saying, I'm going to do that, go and have a look. I love
Do you want to
one.
sleep in a telephone box?
Yeah, I love that sort of stuff, man. I'm up for that. A little bit jealous. Yeah, if you're looking at those pictures and going, I feel a little bit jealous, want to be that, then you need to get your finger on the button. You're talking about Northern Traverse a lot, but you're not talked about the spine at all, Gary. That doesn't tickle your taste buds.
It does. I've said it a few times. I would attempt to do the spine. I would get myself on that start line. I'd probably only do for charity, to be honest. To put myself through that much pain, there's got to be a higher purpose than just me.
Why do you think the Northern Traverse is a much easier option than
No, it's not that. I just think I'd really enjoy. It's quite symbolic too for me being a north. I know that spine finishes up north, but that west to east, coming back to the east coast. I love the lakes. I started running the trails on the moors. There's a lot more.
Yeah,
me
you're
invested in that route.
Yeah, I get that. You the penis way, you're less.
Yeah, I just need a higher. If I'm gonna, and goodness me, I know it will be a sufferfest. Yeah, I just need a higher purpose to get me from south to north.
Anyway, we love your tales from the trails, poems, anything goes. This section is all about you. Please email them to hello@teaandtrails.com or pop anything over on Facebook or Instagram. We'll find them, we'll pull them out, and you will find it. If you like it or not, you're going on the podcast. We'll pass them on to Harrier too, so you might see them popping up on their socials.
Hot reviews.
Hot. That's how I describe myself. Just a hot review.
Incredible.
Fucking out. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Hi, Eddie. I hope Linda doesn't. I haven't checked with Linda. She minds me reading this. Hi, Linda. I'm reading it.
Data breach.
Data breach. Is it a data breach? Yeah. Oops. Oh well. Send me to prison. Fellow mum of 3. We're friends instantly. Running addict living in the Alps. We bumped into each other a few times at drop-offs, airport gates, etc. I've just listened to your epic adventure on the Winter Downs 200. I wanted to say a massive thank you for sharing so openly and emotionally your experiences. I hauled my sorry ass around Tour de Géant in September, my first foray into the super long ultra. Had I not heard your honest race accounts, I may have been alarmed when I got my period at 200k, despite having it just before the race. When I had 10 days of extreme night sweats post-race, I thought I'd forced the menopause, and I struggled to walk post-race due to joint pain. There aren't many of us women in the field, and it's so hard to find honest accounts of what it's like at the coalface. So, thank you. You're awesome. Kiss, kiss, kiss. You're awesome, Linda.
You're awesome.
Hauling your ass around Tour de Géant. That's one haul. Gosh. Do you want to pull out another one? Because that was that was a bit, what's it? Narcissistic. It was all about me, Gary.
I was thinking about this with this next review, actually. Catherine Brown enjoyed this podcast very much. Sometimes it's nice to just listen to a chat between friends. And there's a few different types of podcasts. You have where it's just completely interview based. There's no chat between
No
the
chat.
hosts.
You don't know anything about the host and they just like go straight into the interview.
Yeah. Or there's like, say, Coopcast or Strength Running Podcast or Brody Sharp's podcast where there's lots of knowledge shared. It's not necessarily a story with an athlete.
Also, I think you have different podcasts for like what you're doing. Like I really like some of the science podcasts, but I don't want to run listening to that because I have to concentrate. I really like my like kind of chatty ones for running where you are, because I do all my running by myself at the moment.
Yeah.
And so I really like the ones that I'm just comfortable with. I can relax and I can just zone in, zone out to the inane chat.
My memory of podcasting when I very first started getting into podcast was marathon talk. I remember, goodness me, Tom trying to go for a sub 5-minute mile, was it? I think his challenge was. And you saw his journey. You knew they did comrades. You knew about the park runs they did. There was their family were brought into it too. And like Catherine said, yeah, you just felt like a chat between friends. Very community-based podcast. And that's kind of what I visualise with tea and trails. Jen Basford 30, such a wonderful podcast. I felt every one of the ups and downs of Eddie's race. Such an amazing fight all the way through. Emotional and inspiring. Well done, Eddie. Love you guys.
Love you, Jen. Back at you. That's enough now. That's enough. We love your reviews and it does really help the podcast grow. Pop over to iTunes, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, wherever. Just leave us a review. Yeah, if you can't jump onto any of those and you think I don't know how to do that, just send us a DM or a message, and we shall totally breach your data rights and your right for privacy and read it out on the podcast. Thank you, Protein Rebel, for bringing us home. Protein Rebel are going to be at the National Running Show. They want to meet you guys, so swing by if you are off to Birmingham. Ask to try one of their new maple caffeine gels. I haven't tried. Liz has very kindly said she'll send me some. I'm not sure Eddie should have maple and caffeine mixed together because I have experience of maple syrup and my kids and pancakes.
It's only 45 milligrams, so not like your other
How many
gel.
of these would I need to take? Shall we do the experiment on Eddie next week? It's a nice level of caffeine, isn't it? Because the precision from hydration are high. This is 45 milligrams, but I can imagine it's going to be quite sweet as too. But then everyone likes their flavour.
Got a real smoky taste, yeah. Oh goodness me, it's incredible.
If you could take that out on a bit of bacon as well, you'd be in your heaven, wouldn't you? Like,
what's your Protein Rebel game already today? I'm on my magnesium. I've had my collagen. Not had any protein just yet.
I've done my collagen and my protein. I take it after my first run, come in, whiz up the world's, you got a little flavour of it before we started, the world's noisiest splendour. It's great. If the kids are talking to me and I just like, I don't want to hear any more about something or other, I just put that blender on. Can't hear, sorry. Yeah, I've had my protein, had my collagen. I am good to go. What you on? No magnesium. Yeah, you take that
magnesium. Collagen.
You know you're meant to take it before you go to sleep.
I know, but then that much water.
Oh, we don't need to go back into that.
You know what this is? I kept this did I ever tell you I did the Dragon's Back race?
No, and MDS. I knew you did Marathon des Sables, but the Dragon's Back as well.
Well, in the little field in Cardiff Castle, they had a bar.
You stole.
I didn't steal it.
Shane, alert.
I love memories. Little memory every time I have a drink.
Stealing. That's somebody's business.
And
they provided those cups. No, look, they could use it. It's not got date on. They'd use it at the next Dragon's Back race. You need to send
nasty.
that back.
Listen, it's got really aggressive. Share a little anecdote. Turned on me.
What's happening? What are you doing?
Oh, well, a bit more stability.
It's going to get exciting. Nope.
Well, not really. So a gold star week for me will be, so we are Tuesday, so this is faithful. I'm not kind of telling you what I'm going to do and I've actually already done it or not done it. But the gold star week will be one workout, 800s actually, this week on the plan.
How many?
Oh, I'll do 8 8s. The plan said...
How much recovery?
A minute.
Oh!
On the treadmill.
What's the pace?
I haven't got a clue. I'll just go until it gets to zone 4.
I don't think I'd like to run that fast on the treadmill.
Well, it'll be
probably
10% incline. So.
Oh, okay. You're going to do it uphill. Okay, that's totally different, isn't it?
But it's different because normally I would prescribe a time. This is giving me a distance.
distance.
2 long runs, so I will try and get that double weekend.
Could you try and do your work first this week before you go on your 2 long runs? Or are you going to slack that one off too?
Definitely have the podcast out before Sunday, unless something wild happens. Yes, 2 long runs. I'll do my brutal abs and Yeah, come on, Gary.
Have you done
Twice.
any of this yet? Because this is Tuesday now, and you're setting a stall. This Brew Lab's done.
Going to get some attention today.
But none of this has been done yet, and we're 2 days into the week.
No, none of it's been done yet. So last week, I didn't have the week I wanted, but it was the week I got. But I'm feeling positive. And I've not seen Lisa for a while, so it's going to be nice spending a bit of time together.
How will you do that? Will you get her to watch you doing the Brutal Labs?
Yeah, that'll be a treat. That's exactly what she's looking forward to.
Spraying you with maple gels.
Just decanting them in my mouth. What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive. Oh, I've got a cram a 7-day week into a 4-day week because I am heading down to Birmingham, just popping in the car.
You're going to get mobbed.
No, I'm not, because I'm on a treadmill. No one get near me. I'm going to have security up.
Security.
I'm actually not going to be there, I don't think, when anyone else is there, because I'm going down on Friday, dropping the kids at school and then driving down. I'm going to stop at T-Bay for breakfast. Anyone wants to meet me?
Incredible.
I know. I'm going to get the full veggie breakfast, and then I'm going to go and buy, they've got this like date flapjack slices. So I'm going to get
cinnamon buns.
I'm just going to
incredible.
Sophie Power is going, who I coach and is also a good friend of mine, is going to try and beat the treadmill 48-hour record. So I am going to drive down, and the running show setup, I think she's starting up +2 on the Friday, and so the running show, I don't think it actually starts till the Saturday. So I am, she's got Kate, who crewed her for her run across Ireland. She's there too, so I'm going to go and get her through, because we kind of worked out it's the first 24 hours. Like these big things, like the spine, you bank a good first 100 miles and then you hang on. So that is our plan. Maybe, sorry, Sophie, sharing a bit too much. So I am going to run with her as much as possible through the night, as much as she needs. I have got, so it's so funny.
Get some caffeine gels.
Yeah, I've got a bag of stuff basically, and it's stuff like, it's just all this. You'd think, where are you going? So I've got a blow-up mattress, a sleeping bag, gym wipes, feminine wipes, squirrel, like a massive tub of squirrel nut butter chaffing stuff. If I get stopped by the police, it's going to be like, where are you going? What are you doing? Can we come too? So I've got to get everything done. But I've got to come back on Sunday because the kids have got sport, and Bryn can't do all 3 of them at different sporting venues at once. So I'm going to go help her on Friday night, and then Saturday get on my mattress. The mattress is actually for her, and the sleeping bag is not for me, so that she can literally crawl off this. But I will probably, if you're coming to run with Sophie or see Sophie, if you see a sad little person on the mattress, it's me. So I will get a little bit of sleep on Saturday, and then I've got to drive back at some point on Saturday. But hopefully I will be around. Not sure if I'll be making any sense, because my focus will be on helping Sophie run. I'm a bit nervous about running through the night on the treadmill with her. Like, she might drop me.
I get really nervous if it's a Bob Graham support. There's a lot of pressure there.
It's a lot of pressure. So I'm like, well, I'm going to do my workout tomorrow, but I'm not going to do my long run, because it could I could run like 50, 60 miles with her on the treadmill. I don't want to be the one that goes, I'm a bit tired, Sophie, I'm going to stop.
It's not pacing, is it? You're like just moral support beside it.
Moral support. So I'm quite happy. I'm also taking a kettle, so I'm quite happy to go. I'll make us a little, I'll make us a 2 a.m. brew. So I'm looking forward to doing that. It's meant this week is a bit crammed with trying to do a lot of my coaching work over the weekend, because a lot of it is reactive to like how the week's gone and stuff. And so I'm sort of losing that little bit of time. So trying to get ahead of the game a little bit. That's never easy, but I'm excited to go down, and I'm excited hopefully to meet lots of people who love our Twittering. And also meet lots of our sponsors who we have a lot of interaction with, but a lot of them have never met face to face. So I'll give them big old sweaty tired hugs, give them some squash snacks from T-Bay that we haven't eaten. Not that you would never not eat a T-Bay snack, would you? So yeah, if you're around, come and see us, say hi, or come and shout for Sophie too, because that is quite a feat.
Sophie.
And she's
Good luck.
Whoa, there's me whining about potentially running 24 hours on a treadmill, on a track. Anyone can do it. She has got an amazing capacity for these sort of long events.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck, Sophie. Have a blast, actually, if you are going to the running show, and good luck to everybody else out on the trails. Lots of listeners will be down on the south coast rocking their snoods and bobble hats. I hope it's not bobble hat weather.
Have you seen there's like a storm coming in, but I think it's Scottish based anyway on the Friday. Okay. So hopefully it will divert past any arc markings. I think that's the plan anyway. If it sees southwest coast past, it's heading north. Thanks for tuning in. We love you. Keep listening. Share the episode, the pod, share the love. Pop over to Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, subscribe, or even consider becoming a Patreon. Thanks to X Miles, Precision Fuel Hydration, Phoenix Light UK, and Protein Rebel for sponsoring the show. Remember all your new discount codes: T10 for Shocks, T15 for Protein Rebel, and T24 for Precision Fuel Hydration. Thanks to all our partners and patrons too. We couldn't do this without you and your ongoing support.
Thanks to everybody, actually, who has joined up Patreon. We mentioned last week, if you're a Patreon member, you get early bird entry for the Tea and Trails Ultra. Yeah, and we've seen a little rush of activity over Patreon, so we really appreciate that. Yeah, check your inboxes, check your junk folder. It'd be such a shame. Wow, I look at my junk folder and I think, oh shit, I wish I'd have checked this 2 weeks ago.
Do you? Because I look at my junk folder and it says, join us for Snog, Marry, Fart, Annoy, or whatever. There's a lot of penis extensions and stuff. And I'm just like, I really want to, but I just don't have time right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of dodgy stuff over there. But yeah, please check your junk folder. It'd be a shame if you missed that early bird entry. Let the trail rise to meet you and the wind always be on your back. Be kind to future self. Breathe and believe. Progress, not perfection. My name is Gary Thwaites.
And I'm Eddie Sutton.
And that was episode 105 of the Tea and Trails podcast.